the final play.
Touchdown.
Your home of the pass. 98.5. The Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines.
Celtics raced out to an early 14-3 lead on Golden State last night at TD Garden, but the Warriors turned things around and later on proved they were for real last night, beating the Green 118-112 at TD Garden. Jason Tatum scored a game-high 32 points for the Celtics, but Steph Curry had 27 for the winners. Buddy Hield added 16, and that includes a big three-point shot late for the visitors as well. The Celtics are 7-2. They play Brooklyn at the Garden tomorrow night. The Bruins, meanwhile, will try to shake off a bad loss at Toronto their last time out when they face Calgary at the Garden this evening. Brian Johnston and Bob Beers have the pregame at 6:30 and the tip-off, or face-off rather, at 7 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. The Patriots are without Kyle Duggar, starting linebacker Christian Ellis, and running back to Michael Hasty at practice yesterday. They'll play in Chicago on Sunday. The weekend slate of games actually begins tonight in Baltimore. The Ravens will host Cincinnati, and Carolina announced yesterday they'll go with Bryce Young at quarterback again this weekend in Germany against the Giants after their win over New Orleans last Sunday. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the Shaws and Star Market Foundation. They've teamed with Trent Frederick for Feeding the Puck for families to help fight food insecurity. Learn how they're assisting the Greater Boston Food Bank at 985thesportshub.com/feedthepuck. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
Get the app.
There's the potential there for big stuff.
98.5 The Sports Hub app. Get the app.
Fred, hello. 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 Mm-hmm. Hello. Hello. Hello.
He's naked. He has a sword.
Loopity about with a football.
98.5. The Hub.
Bruins are back from the West Coast.
Cocaine and hookers. Yes. Na.
Is it okay to use this for the radio?
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, you sweet bitch.
Just a sweet guy with the cowboy boots and played the guitar. All right, so I misspoke about it. It's the economy stupid. Jesus.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are Toucher and Hardy, Town Fair Tire Studios. We are brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You can call us 617-779-0985. You can watch our show on YouTube. Simply search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. It's up there 24 hours a day, and you can watch it live. And then you can see Hardy read what you say.
I'll log on there right now. I'll see what they're saying. It's probably like morning.
What is the over-under on people who are actually online
98.
and watching the show?
98 is the total. I haven't even looked.
All right, I'm going to say 107.
I'm going to say 75.
Well, you just have to go over or under. 98.5 is the number. So you're going.
I see.
I'm going under.
I get it, 98.5. See, because we're on 98.5.
118.
Ha ha ha! Yeah.
Wow. Well, because the chat's off after the show ends live. Because if you go back to watch the show, the chat's off. So if you want to participate in the chat or even read what people are saying, you have to be there live. And apparently it can be quite disparaging. In fact, yesterday on Instagram, I had a guy tell me to go kill myself.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. So that's when Nicholas steps in and starts regulating.
No.
Right?
It was my Instagram page.
Oh, your Instagram. Okay.
Yeah. And then I wrote the guy back. I said, you want me to kill myself? And then he took it down. But I have his name.
Oh, good.
And strangely enough, he's lovingly hugging a woman in his profile picture.
Wait a minute. I seem to remember an incident in the past where you track one of these people down.
Well, telling me to kill myself isn't a crime. No. A couple times, like when people have threatened to hurt me, there was the one time when I was in Newport and I got
That's the one I'm thinking of.
I got a message on my cell phone from someone that said how they were going to like murder me in in the bathroom or something like that. They were going to murder me all over. They were going to murder me. So it was on my cell phone, and I didn't know how he obviously. I mean, I guess you could get my number with the internet. It's not that difficult. But he left a message, so I walked with my family to the Newport police station. We were out at breakfast. I walked to the Newport police station. They took the information. Even if you block your number, they can find it. And, I mean, it's all in the air, obviously. I'm so dumb. I mean, look at the Karen Reed trial. They dig up text messages for 6 years ago. Like, everything you do is out there. Like, you can't hide anything.
You watched that Karen Reed trial, man. It lasted for maybe 2 days, but I said, I'm never texting anyone again about anything.
Yeah.
Because holy crap, when you have to read it on the witness stand and you are reading out loud what you said, and so you wouldn't, well, yes, you would. Everybody, I think, puts the most horrendous, vile things in text, but they're inside jokes to people, or
Sure.
Things that you would never say out loud in public. But yeah, should it ever come back around? Yikes!
Yeah, the idea that you're judged out in the setting of a court of law on a murder trial for things that you said to someone that you were friends with, in a casual conversation is a little unfair. Unless you're plotting a crime or something, but if it's just like language or something like that, that's a little unfair. So I go to the police and I go, here's what this guy did. And they go, okay, thanks. And that day they found him and they went to the guy's house, and the guy had a wife and kids, and he started sobbing uncontrollably, and told on and on he was an alcoholic, he was a drug addict, he had all these problems. His life was so miserable because you don't, threaten to kill someone you don't know, or probably threaten to kill anyone, but threaten to kill someone you don't know, certainly, if things are going like A+ for you. That's not something that screams to me, or even telling someone you don't know to kill themselves in a non-joking manner. That's just a pussy way of, you won't say that you're going to kick my ass or kill me. You want me to do it for you. Mm-hmm. Because you're too much of a pussy. I mean, if you want to do it, just do it. And because those people aren't coming from a great place. Like, look at yourselves and myself. Like, if you're in your personal life going out there and you're feeling like super intense emotions about things that really don't affect you or people that you don't know, that's not a sign of everything's going great.
No.
You can probably take the times in your life where you felt that way, and we all have. Not to that degree. I've never told someone to kill themselves that I didn't know. But if you look at the times where you were acting irrationally, and the times things were probably not going. I know in my case things were not going well. That was, I wasn't doing well mentally. It doesn't sound like, you don't sound like a strong, like, alpha guy when you do something like that. So anyway, they went to this guy's house. He started sobbing and da-da-da-da. But they'll find you 10 seconds later. Go ahead.
And then you two became friends.
Yeah.
Well, then, he's the godparent to my children now, because we all went over to the guy's house, and he was so sad that we felt really bad, and we had to do something. So I said, would you like to be the godparent of my children?
Should have done? Invited him to hit the links. And then you go out there and you figure stuff out.
Invite him to the club.
Have you ever done that? Have you ever gone with someone you had a disagreement with and gone, let's go play golf because we're gonna have to chew the fat while we do this, something that I love?
No, I maybe offered it up once but I didn't really mean it. And it was actually to like a listener. This is a long, long time ago, like early days of the Sports Hub. But somebody used me like that and whatever. I remember like killing the guy with kindness, and then he said something about going to play golf sometime. Like, absolutely never did, because the guy was still a dick. But you can kill him with kindness. It's tough to do. You feel like you're swallowing your pride, but it makes the other person feel like really, really small when you, because we all get like these terrible emails, you suck and all this stuff, and just every once in a while I'll go back. I'm like, man, I'm really sorry you feel that way. We're trying to put on a show for you each day, and every day it's a new show, and it's not going to be high art every morning, but it's a free product, and And we're
Bear
just,
with us while we try our very best.
yeah. And hopefully there was something in the show today that made you laugh. It obviously wasn't that, but man, we really are trying. And we're, believe it or not, we're fans too of this, some sports ball and and
Yeah.
But you seem like a decent guy. I know what you're talking about. That thing didn't land, but damn it, I hope you give us another chance tomorrow. Oh, sorry, I'm really a big fan. I'm like, shut up, you dick. I caught you. I got you, jackass. F off.
Yeah, there's always the fantasy of like when someone comes after you, especially someone who's been in the business, and you're like, "Would you like a job?" And they go, "Yeah," and then you're like,
This feels so good.
No, I'm
Yeah.
just
But
saying,
you don't send that last email. You just say that to
No.
yourself. You big weenie.
the best part about Hardy is he'll smile at you and he'll be nice, but there's always that part of him bubbling just under the surface, and it really doesn't take all that much to bring it forward. Good for you. Good for you expressing your true self.
there's always that fantasy of someone who's been in the business or something is like being like really irrationally hateful, and you go like, "Oh, would you like a job?" And when they go, "Yes," going, "Well, no, I didn't mean it. I was joking. I would love it if you'd come in and maybe work for us.
Just
That'd be
consult
great.
with us. Yeah, we've actually got a pretty high-paying position right now, and we just need someone to come in here and tell us, what was good or more likely bad with the segment that we just did. And you just hang out for a few hours each day. Would you be interested? Yeah, that'd be really good.
Yeah, like John's
F
leaving.
you!
Yeah, this is behind the scenes stuff, but John is actually taking the Celtics job. It's opened up. He's taking the Celtics job. So we really do need a new guy to do updates and be third. Mike, what do you think? Could you do it? And then they go like, oh come on, and you go, no, I'm serious. Like, I'm serious. I've always had this fantasy. Like, I'm serious. Like, dude, come on, come in. And then they're like, and then you're like, all right, here's the deal. Like, I'll be here at 3:00 on Wednesday. If you want to come, you can come. Then they come, and then you like start there, and you're like, okay, can I hear like some of your stuff? And then they give you like a file, and you start playing it, and you're like, yeah, this is really good. And then you're like, dude, I was gonna wait and interview some more people, but I'd like to give you the job. And they go, really? And you go, yeah. Would you take it? And they go, oh my God, I would like it so much. And then you go, and then I would go, oh no, I see. I was just doing that to be a dick.
F you, stupid.
Yeah, John's not going anywhere. I just did this whole exercise to make you feel bad.
Nice.
That would be a very long thing that I'm not sure I could be up to. But
That's really long and involved. You actually have the person to the office and do that.
yeah, I fantasize.
Wow.
Oh no, everything has to be face to face.
I see.
It's no fun on the internet.
Okay.
No. You have to like sit there in front of them and tell them like while looking into their soul. Paul, go ahead.
Fred, I can't remember the name, but who was the comedian you had on? He had a guy making threats to him. He hired a detective to hunt him down. He found him and he confronted him.
Yeah.
Okay. Jeremy Roenick did that.
Yeah.
And maybe Bill Burr did that. Burr did that.
I thought it was Sodor. I might be wrong.
Oh, Dan Soder.
It might be Dan Soder.
Okay,
I'm
Paul,
trying to
good pull.
remember.
Thank you for that.
No,
Jeremy
Roenick definitely did that.
Well, Jeremy Roenick, someone was going after him on
Yeah.
Twitter when Twitter first started, and he was like, "Screw this! I'm going to go kick the guy's ass."
He showed up at his front door and confronted him.
Yeah, which is that's like a fantasy, but if you start doing that, people know they can get your go-to good, and then
Right.
then it becomes like. Because I've seen those Opie and Anthony fans go after people, hachi machi.
Let me tell you a tactic that does not work, and that is I did this maybe in the first week. It was certainly within the first month when I moved here and was on PCN. A guy sent me an email that was just riddled with spelling and syntax and grammatical errors, so I proofread it and sent it back to him and replied all.
I remember that.
And it went. Do you remember my sign-off line 12?
No, what was it?
This is the one that got me in trouble. I went line by line through his email with things like, I see your spelling mistake here, there as opposed to there, and then listed the different types of theirs. And then point number 2, punctuation is your friend. In this sentence, a semicolon would have worked before you said ba, 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 ba. And I said, I hope this helps and so we can communicate better in the future. now go piss up a crooked rope. And I replied all, and Hannon was on it. Chachi was on it. Dave was on, like everybody was on it. And I got word back almost immediately. It's like, yeah, man, you can't do that. You can't do that. And then Hannon stopped me in the hallway, and he's like, that was really funny. You told that guy to go up a crooked rope. That's awesome. I'm like, okay, thank you. He didn't care, but
no.
Oddly, I think it was Chachi, because he was like, the PR guy in addition to marketing stuff. Was like,
why do you think this office is so big?
You got to ignore stuff like that.
Yeah, take it from me, Chachi. I'm being inundated with stuff. Breakfast with the Beatles. Why don't you play Help? You played it last week. Why don't you play it this week? I got somebody who wanted to sit in with me, and a guy brought me oranges, and he wanted to watch me record. I brought a box of vinyl up to another studio, and it was a big treat for them. Now, I live 100 miles away, but in case I ever get pulled over in Attleboro, it's a good idea to have this police officer in every other week. Tell me if you think this is healthy or not. I have not done it. But if like someone says something like really bad to you, and it's on social media, and then you go like, especially like something like Instagram, and then you can go easily look at like who they are, and especially if their profile's open, you can like see that. Yeah. And if you see that they have a job where they shouldn't be talking this way, like they're a teacher or something, I haven't done it, but there is that like, and I haven't had it for a long time, but there is that instinct to go like, oh, I wonder how like Lynn Public Schools would feel about someone educating the kids of Lynn, that you spend your time on social media saying things like this to people. And not that I would do anything, but just to give them that little sense of,
oh yeah, oh my God,
like
he knows,
like like oh God, like
so
maybe I shouldn't be like, oh, what if he do this? Like, what would he do? Well,
there was a guy who was emailing a couple of years ago, and then he followed me to the morning show, and I looked him up, and I know what he does for a living. I know where he works, and also know this: if you're real dope, if you're just sending an email a day every day, and it's the same stuff, and it's not even like rooted in fact, it doesn't take me long to set up a quick little rule in Outlook, and yours go directly to junk, and I never see him anymore. But should that guy pop up again, I've got that little ace in the hole. Yeah, I know where you work, and I don't think I would do it either, Fred. But you're not anonymous, dummy, and you're spending a lot of time during business hours emailing this show, other shows, all this stuff, and you're clearly not well.
Well, I saw this story where there's this guy, and I mean, because it's so easy to dox people, and they doxed this guy, and it got to a point where they were like seeing on Google Earth that he had like lawn chairs in the back, so they put them up on Craigslist with his address and picture, and then like they knew that he frequented this bar because they got into all his stuff, and that he would talk about this bar, so they'd show up at the bar and like just start ordering drinks and like asking about him, and then he was like, you guys are a bunch of pussies. So a guy took a picture of his ID and sent it to him and said, like, here's my ID. Here's where I'll be. Come, like, see me. And the guy, and it, like, I mean, they can, yeah, you're never anonymous. I'll tell you that. Nope. You're never anonymous. People can really screw you up.
The proofreading thing really bothers people. And it is a very smarmy dick move. But I've did it once with a program director. Not here. And he sent an email to like everybody. It was a staff email, and he was just dumb. And the thing was just, really poorly written. So I printed it out, and I used from my, Michigan State University journalism degree, like proper copy editing marks. The red pen with the circle, the little dots, butt-cheek thing. You underline letters that are supposed to be
from the AP style guide, all that stuff.
Exactly. And I proofread it, and I printed it out, proofread it, and slid it back under his door. And he wanted to know who did it. Silly me, I thought he might find it amusing. But he went around to everybody. It's like, who did this? And I'm like, oh man, what is that? What? Oh, is that your email? I saw it, but well, what? Who printed it out? What do those marks mean?
Yeah, that doesn't bother me, the grammar thing, when people do that to me. It does bother others, though. That's one thing that doesn't bother me, but it does bother others.
It's the move of somebody like me who thinks they're smart and they're being a smart ass. And no, that's...
Yeah, and
it's annoying, and it makes people want to punch people like me in the face.
It's funny because I'm like, yeah, my grammar sucks. What do you want out of me? I don't write. Like, what do I have to write? All right, we'll be back. Celtics played last night. The Golden State Warriors. I resisted temptation by buying tickets for a lot of money to that game, and I'm very proud of how frugally responsible I was. We'll be back in just a moment.
Stay tuned for more touch.
somebody.
Yeah, I'd rather have him than Portnoy. I don't want either one. In fact, I'd cut them both loose in the middle of the season.
Luck and Bertrand, weekday mornings at 10 on the Sports Hub. We're back with Toucher and Hardy on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Did you catch a game last night?
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. Hardy, last night, big goings on at the Boston Garden.
The game that you decided not to attend was a fiscally responsible decision on your part, Fred.
I watched it on television, though. That I did.
You watched it on the TV set? Did you watch with your son? And did he say, man, I wish we were there? And you said, no, we can't afford it.
I got halfway through texting him, do you want to go to the game during the show yesterday? And then I stopped. And then I started looking at prices, and I'm like, how badly do I? Because I just wanted to go to see Steph Curry and Draymond Green.
Yeah.
I've never seen Draymond Green play live in pros. I've seen him live in college.
Okay.
And I wanted to see that because who knows how long they'll be around. He may never come back to Boston. And so I thought about it, and then I went, there's a lot going on. I don't need to do that. I just took him to a Jets game. I don't need to do it. I'm taking them to the Thanksgiving Lions game. I don't need to do that. I just bought Tyler, the Creator, tickets for her. That cost me $1,000. Maybe it's better not to go.
Yeah. Well, things look good early on, and Peyton Pritchard was out there doing Peyton Pritchard-like things.
Derek White pressured at half court, gets a bounce pass away to Hauser, flips it into the corner. Peyton Pritchard all alone, gets the three right back.
Finally took his time, but that was the first easy-looking shot that he's had.
Celtics up by as many as 11 in the first quarter, but if you're going to hit threes, the Golden State Warriors have a guy who's pretty good at shooting threes.
That's where we are. Neemias Queta is a +9 for the Celtics in the game. They trail by 11. Bench against bench, but no contest. Steph steps to his left and buries a three. Right on cue. It's a 14-point Golden State lead.
What? What happened? What happened to your lead that you had in the quarter before that? It's not even halftime, and now Golden State's up 14 points.
The Celtics were up 14-3 quick, and then Steve Kerr called timeout, and things changed.
Things changed indeed. Now, as grim as things look, the Celtics storm back with mostly bench guys out on the court, which means there's mostly bench guys out on the court for Golden State, but there was one player off the bench for the Celtics last night that was pretty impressive.
White holding it, finds Queta, flashing in the paint, elevates, and slams on top of the head of Kevon Looney.
Big guy dancing with the stars.
Confidence meter through the roof.
Queta started last night.
Yeah, Queta was the starting
Oh,
center.
that's right. Queta did start last night.
Cornette came off the bench.
Easy mistake to make. But, he was a plus for the game.
His second straight start. This guy couldn't get on the floor out in Sacramento, and here we are.
They were making a point last night of mentioning the fact that he's only 25 years old, started playing basketball when he was 10.
Yeah.
And I said, is that late? That seems like a pretty decent age to. Okay, maybe it is late to start playing basketball.
Things are, unfortunately, now in youth sports.
He didn't start until he was 10 years old, and look at him now.
Well, the best is football, where there'll be like a tight end that didn't play football until college. Football is the great equalizer.
Right. That is the one where you will hear these crazy stories. But
we just had him on. We just had Gary Goldman on, who had played his senior year of high school, only played well in one game and ended up getting a scholarship to BC.
Yes. Yeah. And hated pretty much every second of it.
Yeah, got whacked and didn't like it.
No, but the days of guys like Dennis Rodman coming into the league and not playing until he was in junior college. Literally, when did Rodman start playing competitive basketball? 23, 24?
No. He played in high school, but then he had a growth spurt in college. He went to junior college, and he grew like 7 inches in the course of from age 18 to 19 or something like that.
Wow.
And became good.
Yeah.
He had played basketball and was playing at a junior college level.
Okay.
And then he had hit this huge growth spurt.
Anyway, so the Celtics actually retake the lead late. And then Steph Curry came back on the court. Minutes restriction for Curry as he's still getting over an injury or at least an ailment. And
I couldn't tell there was a minutes restriction on him. That's for sure.
He played more minutes than anybody else for Golden State.
No, but I know he's supposed to be on a minutes restriction, but it just didn't seem like.
No. But, well, what does he normally play in a regular season game, John? Has he played 40?
No, those days are gone. Where he was last night is where he's going to be for most of the season. I mean, he's 36, 37 years old. He played 34 minutes last night. I don't think Steve Kerr's going to play much more than that.
But there was a conversation in the fourth quarter after the Celtics retook the lead. It's like, when is Steph coming back in? It was kind of that normal end of the third quarter, start of the fourth quarter spell that a lot of starters get, and then Curry did, in fact, come back into the game.
High-level stuff here. Steph steps back away from Tatum, open for three, knocks it down. Tatum knew it, too. Tatum just dropped his head even before Steph released that shot. 23 for Steph Curry, his fourth three of the night, 97-96. Boston by 1.
By the way, during that Celtics comeback, their offensive rebounding was insane. Like the amount of hustle that team had, I guess, which is part of the advantage of playing bench guys, is that 3 offensive rebounds on a possession, that's how they stayed. That's how they stayed in the game.
Kata was a big part of that.
I was going to say Kata may have been 2 of those 3 offensive rebounds on the play you're talking about, Fred. He was down there battling, but
and by the way, Buddy Hield has put on about 40 pounds of muscle since he was in college.
Buddy, and that's the thing that'll help Golden State this year. Hield, I don't know if we're going to play this, but Hield hit a mammoth 3 late to basically put the game away, and you forget about him because Golden State has all these other guys, but Hield didn't start. And a lot of people forget how good a shooter he was in Indiana. He holds the Pacers record for made threes in a season.
Yeah.
That's a franchise that had Reggie Miller on it
for
a while.
There were 2 plays at the end that really hurt. One of them.
Steph Curry again against Kata. Deep on the left side. Kata has Steph step by him over the shoulder. Pass Draymond. Air ball of a 3, but Looney catches it and puts it up and in. And the only way Golden State gets the rebound is if Draymond throws up an air ball, and that's exactly what happened.
It was so bad, I thought it was a pass.
No, that was a shot.
No, I mean, it was off.
That's the thing. The Celtics, there were 2 small plays. There was that one. It was a brutal air ball, and it wound up being a layup. And there was another one where Steph Curry missed a layup, and that wound up being a putback.
Yes.
Those 2 plays and the Hield 3 were the difference.
The Hield 3.
Steph into the front court. Challenged by Derek White. Draymond sets the screen. Horford jumps out, and Steph Curry out near half court. Steph, 2 dribbles with the right hand. Push pass for Buddy Hield. Corner 3. Got it.
See, you go to try to guard one guy, and Steph Curry's smart enough to utilize other weapons.
But it wasn't just the threes, as we mentioned earlier. It was some of the points down low, and even though the Celtics, with some of their non-starters, were out there battling. The Warriors outscored the Celtics in the paint 52-36.
Well, the Celtics take so many threes. I'm not surprised. That makes sense.
Part of that too, I think, is Jaylen Brown not playing last night, and he is one of your guys, at least from a starter standpoint, who is more likely to go down low and battle for those points in the paint. No, the Celtics prefer to take threes, and it served them well for the most part in the early part of this season. But last night, it did not.
Celtics found a team you have to be healthy to beat. That's the thing.
Right.
I mean, did happen all of last year. It didn't matter who was out. Celtics would still win games. Well, here's a team that you have to be healthy to beat. And everyone's talking about Oklahoma City and Denver, who played each other last night. Those 2 teams supposed to be there at the end. Add this Golden State team in. Steve Kerr is playing 11 or 12 guys every night, and it's working.
Well,
it's 7-1.
It's a recipe to make sure that the guys you really need healthy at the end of the season for the playoffs, have a better chance of staying that way by playing that many guys and keeping guys like Steph Curry. Again, it didn't seem like he was on much of a minutes restriction last night, and he's obviously come back from that. But if you can give him a little bit of a break here and there down the stretch, that could be the difference for them. So next up for the Celtics, a visit to the Cavaliers, who I believe
that's Golden State. Celtics play Brooklyn.
Golden State. Thank you. Golden State plays Brooklyn. Cavaliers still undefeated.
There you go.
Donovan Mitchell again last night, and they're getting extra help It's not just Mitchell for Cleveland.
Garland's been really good.
They have found a little depth on that team right now, and they're going to be ones to watch.
All right, very good. We will be back. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
Steph Curry scored 27 points. Golden State held off the Celtics down the stretch for a 118-112 win at TD Garden last night. Jason Tatum, 32 points for the Green. They play Brooklyn at TD Garden tomorrow night. The Bruins use the building for hockey tonight. They get Calgary in town. Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers have the pregame at 6:30 and the face-off at 7 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Patriots play in Chicago Sunday. They were missing 3 players from practice yesterday. Kyle Duggar, Christian Ellis, and running back Jermichael Hasty. An interesting game tonight in Baltimore. The Ravens play Cincinnati to kick off Week 10 of the NFL season. And big problems for Dallas. The NFL Network was the first to report yesterday Dak Prescott is dealing with a bad hamstring problem. Apparently, part of the tendon has pulled off the bone. He is not expected back anytime soon. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Catches Law. Injured and can't work? Turn to Catches Law, the official law firm of the New England Patriots, to tackle your needs. With local attorneys who live and serve here in New England, let Catches fight for you. Go to catcheslaw.com to book your free consultation. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7 o'clock.
More Toucher and Hardy on the way on the Sports Hub.
Are you looking for better propane savings and services for your home? Go with Petro. Switch now and get up to $125 free heating propane. Go to Petro.
This does sound like an 80s makeout scene.
See, I don't think it's makeout scene. I think this is after the robbery is done and you lost one of the guys on the crew.
Yeah.
You're driving away solo. You got the getaway money.
It's a depressing thing, or the nerd gets picked on by the high school quarterback and is walking alone.
I like that
Is
one.
this
too.
what you used to listen to when that happened?
Well, it's usually after I get dunked in a toilet, but yeah.
I like the nerd being picked on, but it sounds Michael Mann, early 80s.
Oh.
It's meant to, yes.
Yeah.
See, this sounds, I wonder if I'm mentally ill. This sounds to me like a love scene. What would be playing during
This
a
is
love
what
scene.
love sounds like to you?
I think there's a little bit
Yes.
of that, Freddie. I don't think any of you are wrong. I think you're all, just taking different scenes from the same film that this is soundtrack.
I think John and I are the most
beautiful.
right.
Yeah, I think that's true.
I want to go back to
I'll
the...
side with John because he seems to be speaking from experience. I've never loved anyone. Go ahead.
I was just saying, I want to go back to the John scenario and put that that he brought up and put that as a potential Bill Belichick photo tableau of him getting his head dunked in the toilet and having his girlfriend dressed in perhaps like the school uniform or something along those lines.
Jordan, this is an idea for you again from your friend Fred. See if you can get Bill to you don't have to stick his head in the toilet because he might know something's up then. But see if you can get him on his knees, like hovering above the toilet, with you holding his thing in, and you're dressed you're dressed as like a headmaster, like a male headmaster.
There it is.
Like in a suit,
Ooh.
and he's dressed as like a naughty boy, and you're forcing him into the thing.
If I may, perhaps a scene from the movie Lucas, and you could have Bill wrapped himself in a towel and dunking his nether regions into a big tub of water after Lucas was essentially sexually assaulted in the locker room. He had icy hot rubbed on his genitals, and then he had to run outside and dunk his genitals in a tub of water. It was like an oil drum filled with water.
There was something like that.
Bill dressed up like Lucas.
Yeah, there was something like that in the obviously Revenge of the Nerds too. They put the hot stuff, and then the Asian fella mixes it up and he says,
"Put what? Liquid heat."
Yeah.
On their what?
Yeah.
On their jock.
That was the first one.
That's not how he said it. I'm just kidding.
I'm glad to hear you nerd guys finally fought back.
That was one of the leads explaining it to the chairman of
Bernie
Miscellaneous.
Casey,
He says, "Oh, it's like salad."
Oh,
That's not how he says it.
Yeah.
What? How did he say it, Fred?
I don't know. I don't know why I couldn't imitate him.
man.
I have thought about this. I don't know why I couldn't imitate him if that's how he sounds. Like if because you can imitate someone's voice, like if they're British or Greek or something, but if you imitate the Asian guy doing the voice he talks with in the movie, then that's racist. It is the way it is, and who am I to challenge these more?
That is the first one, by the way. The second one is when they go on spring break. Different
Second one
scenario
has
there.
Courtney Thorne-Smith in it.
There you go.
Wait, what are you talking about?
The Revenge of the Nerds films.
Yeah, who brought up number 2?
One of you had said that scene was from the second movie, and I was saying, no, it's from the first film.
No one said that.
No one said that.
All right, well,
no, not one person in here said that.
Go back in my hole now.
Adam, if you're going to hear things that aren't even happening, I mean, you might want to get looked at, get checked out. You had the good point about the music, and then you got too confident, and then you got too close to the sun. All right.
Here's the line that Takashi says. I wrote it out for you. All you have to do is read it out loud.
Go ahead, Fred.
I can't do it. It's not my decision. It's
You
the
won't even
world's
look at the
decision.
paper.
I did look at it. It says, "Okay, it's like salad."
There, you did it.
Yeah.
Well done. Sounded just like
he
it.
goes, "Okay, it's like salad, is it?"
Cold Cuts McCartney, what are you doing here?
It's okay. At the bottom of those jock straps, there's a big hot sandwich. A big meatball sub. It just has a little jock on it.
Okay, that's unsettling. There's problems in Dallas. In addition to just the team being problematic this year. Now we got a problem with Dak Prescott.
The initial diagnosis, according to a number of sources, Tom and Mike, is this is a partial avulsion of the hamstring tendon. It has actually
you can't have an avulsion.
torn off the bone. It's my understanding and an explanation as to why he hasn't gone on IR, that he and his team are looking for several other opinions before making a decision about how to proceed moving forward.
You just find someone who doesn't have eyes.
That's right.
I mean, it seems like if it's ripped off the bone, it's ripped off the bone, and any set of eyes is going to see the same thing. But if you want to walk around, I guess it's like doctor shopping for pills. You just knock around until you find enough guys that'll write the script.
Right. Go see like a large animal vet there. They got to have tons of them around Dallas. Like, oh, that's not an avulsion. I had a steer in here last week where the damn thing had rolled up like a window blind. You're fine.
Yeah,
get out there, son.
Ketamine. So I think that Jerry Jones, and I do really believe this with all the in-depth conversations I've had with him, but just based on the way he's been behaving publicly, that's a very small sample size. This is completely unfair. And the trade that he made at the deadline, I think that he's getting old.
No, he's crossed the imaginary line. He is.
I do.
This
think
year
so.
was the year he did that.
Yeah, I think that not coming to terms with this team's not making the playoffs. And I wouldn't say that if Dak Prescott wasn't hurt, but I mean, Cooper Rush is their quarterback.
Yes, and Trey Lance is now their backup.
Yep. Yeah, so I'd feel almost more confident with Trey Lance just because where he was drafted, but whatever. He just seems to not be firing on all cylinders. He didn't have to sell at the deadline, but he's in a real pickle here because 40-some-odd% of his cap is going to 2 players next year.
They hadn't even signed Micah Parsons yet.
Yeah, and I know you can manipulate the cap and all that is true, but, I mean, there comes a point where, like, you can't – if 2 salaries are taking up 40-some-odd% of your cap – you're not going to be able to sign everyone. They need low-cost talent on that team, and they could have accepted that this is a lost year. And you know what? Maybe we'll get a new coach, fair or not. We'll get a new coach in the offseason. Prescott will be healthy, and we'll go for it next year. But they should have traded off some pieces while they could have gotten something in return because ultimately they're not going to be able to keep anyone. And when he called into that radio station, he just seems completely not with it. Like he doesn't seem nearly as sharp as he used to be, and he seems a little erratic. Again, I never talked to the guy. I don't know him. This is just as bad as a doctor on Twitter telling you what happened to a guy that he saw on TV.
Even if you look, and the owners had meetings a couple of weeks ago, even if you look at an interview of him, he somehow, whenever Jerry would show up at something, he has a presence, right? I watched an interview with him on television a couple of weeks ago. That's gone. He just now looks like an old man. And I don't know what it is about him that made me feel that way. But when Jerry used to show up,
I don't know, the sunken reddened eyes.
Maybe that's it.
The fact that he looks,
he just looks smaller than he used to.
Smell the old man smell coming off of him in a photograph.
The video with Jamie Foxx, which was unfair, but where he's sitting there with Jamie Foxx and they're in the stands and he starts talking about the guy's penis. Like, it was unfair that was considered to be like something it wasn't, and he didn't get in trouble for it. But just like he just doesn't seem sharp. He seems like he's old. He's in his 80s. Like it just seems like he's reached that point. You know? Yeah.
And there are real decisions to be made with this team right now, and it's not going to get done with any of your folksy wisdom and charm. We took a skeetering across the bear trap here. We're going to have to do something. No, and then you got to really do something. Alex Ovechkin with another goal last night.
On the curl and drag, it's Dylan Strome feeding Ovechkin. He scores! The grade A back on the board.
There's some play by Strome, and watch him feather and find Ovi.
Yeah. He found him and he scored, and it was his 861st career goal. That was the go-ahead goal for the Capitals to beat the Predators last night, and that puts him 34 goals shy, breaking Wayne Gretzky's NHL career goals record. He is on pace to do it this season, based on what he's scored so far and what they have left.
And he's doing it in the exact same amount of time that Gretzky did it in. That's the thing to remember here. This isn't a modern, he's spent more seasons. Athletes last longer. Nope. Gretzky played 20 years. This is Ovechkin's 20th year.
Yeah. He's going to be one of the top players of all time. He's one of the great scorers of all time. I mean, he doesn't have nearly the points Gretzky had, but that's not the point. The point is that whoever would have thought someone would catch Gretzky in goals, no one will ever catch Gretzky in assists.
No.
I would assume, not in our lifetimes.
No.
I wouldn't think so.
We looked that up recently. Gretzky has 1,963 career assists. Second place, 1,249.
Yeah.
And the active assist leader is Sidney Crosby, who has 1,000.
Yeah.
And Crosby is in his mid-30s at this point. So no one's ever going to catch him.
Just a few things. We will get to the Patriots later on, who, of course, will visit Chicago this weekend, Thursday Night Football. We got the Bengals visiting the Ravens. And someone asked earlier, what about what Steve Kerr had to say about Jason Tatum, and what did Tatum say about Kerr after the Celtics and Warriors game last night? We're going to do all that later. But there were a lot of conversation, and Joe Mazzulla with some real gems yesterday too.
Yeah, he was working the crowd. He was sitting at the Friars Club roast. He was having some fun with the people in the big Olympic payback game. What I don't understand about the whole Olympic payback thing is that they won the gold medal. So now my responsibility as the coach of Team USA is not only to win the gold medal, but to play everyone equally. Like, you get one or the other. If I win the gold medal, you can't question my coaching decisions anymore. I achieved the goal. If I get you what you want, and I don't do it in a way that you found aesthetically pleasing, or I didn't make everyone else happy, that's not my job. If you told me my job is to take the 12 guys and I'll make sure they have a super fun time and everyone gets equal playing time, I mean, I've coached youth basketball where that was the goal.
Like. Yep.
I mean, if that's the goal, but if he would have not won the gold medal, then he's open up to everything. And when Steve Kerr talked yesterday, he brought up that we won the gold medal.
Yeah, he was unapologetic.
Yeah, I mean, why would he apologize for anything? Yeah. He won the gold medal. They did what they had to do. The only goal of that team was to win the gold medal. That's it. That's all. That was his responsibility, and not embarrass the country. And those are the two things. Could you not embarrass the country while winning the gold medal? Can do. Everyone behaved. No one was embarrassing, and they won the gold medal. So what do you want out of the guy? If Jason Tatum didn't play 1 minute of one game, he was on Team USA, he gets the gold medal, who cares? I bet you Jason Tatum doesn't even care that much.
I bet you he did.
I bet you he did maybe at the time during the game, but I highly doubt that still irks him. That high-performing an athlete, I find it very difficult that would still bother him.
I sat here and asked Chris Forsberg that yesterday, and Forsberg seemed to think that there still was something there. And the other thing, and I understand this is me reading way too much into it, but...
Unlike my Jerry Jones thing. But
I watched Jason Tatum in the first half. They were shooting at the basket next to the Golden State bench. He struggled in that half, did not struggle going the other way in the second half.
Yeah. Listen.
And after the game, everyone's hugging everybody. We're all friends. Tatum, after the game, immediately turned around and walked back into the locker room. Kerr walked out to midcourt, hugged everyone, shook hands with everybody. Tatum wanted no part of it. I think there is still something there.
Well, then he's not going to get happy until he gets over those things, John. I mean, it might be fuel for this temporary fire, but it's going to end up burning a hole in him.
You keep carrying that anger, it's going to eat you up inside. Don Henley taught me that. You got to get down to the heart of the matter. I think it's about forgiveness.
But even if you don't love me anymore.
He's getting inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame, and they go, in his international career, Jason Tatum won 3 gold medals in his NBA career. Now, you'll recall the first one, he did not play in 2 of those games. So that did not go into our decision-making for the NBA Hall of Fame. I mean, it's ridiculous. You were on the team. It's like Scalabrine didn't play in the 2008 Celtics in the finals. Okay. I'm the NBA. I have an NBA championship ring. It doesn't take it away. You got a gold medal. And the guys that were playing in front of you weren't schmoes. It's 2 of the greatest basketball players of all time. Players far better than you. I mean, Curry and LeBron James, it's their last ride. If anything, Kerr did the right thing by letting those two guys win it. If you want to talk about something aesthetic and something pleasing and something that's nice, let the two old guys in their last run have it. Tatum's got at least one more, probably two, maybe three more Olympics coming up.
Right.
So let these two old guys have it, and then Tatum, when he gets into his 30s, if he's on the U.S. men's team, then you give him the run. There you have it. Thank you. I'm glad that I got to say that to all of you who are still carrying around so much resentment in your soul.
I'm glad I got to hear it. I just count myself among the lucky.
If anyone knows about squashing beefs and not holding grudges, it's me. That's for sure. If anyone's more evolved than that, it's certainly I. Just open up a newspaper. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
opportunity to come in and try to be the best player I can be, and another day to just try to get a win.
Celtics are now 7-2. They host Brooklyn tomorrow night. The Bruins host Calgary this evening. Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers have the pregame at 6:30 and tip-off, or rather face-off, at 7 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Patriots will be in Chicago to play the Bears this Sunday. They were without Kyle Duggar, Christian Ellis, and running back Michael Hasty at practice yesterday. The Baltimore Ravens will host 4-5 Cincinnati tonight. And big problems for the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott will not be back anytime soon. The NFL Network was the first to report that he's dealing with a bad hamstring injury. Part of the tendon is apparently pulled off the bone. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the fall flavors at the 99, like the freshly baked homestyle chicken pot pie packed with chicken and topped with a buttery flaky crust. You gotta love the nines. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The 7:30.
Boston plays here.
Pressure, half court, it's in the air.
Go!
He got it! He did it again!
98.5, the Sports Hub.
Is elongating.
Weekday mornings.
Here goes Hardy.
Toucher and Hardy.
I no longer love things.
Let's go. Let's ride.
98.5.
Like, let's roll the dice.
The Sports Hub.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. We are brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You can watch us on YouTube live. Just search 98.5 The Sports Hub. And then you can watch us on YouTube 24 hours a day. You can consume our podcast. It's available in every media form. It's quite exciting. Rolling Stone, who for so many years indulged so many hippies, and put down the music of bands like Kiss and Led Zeppelin, who now have gone on to big things, some of them. But nonetheless, you have to remember, and I'm going to encourage Adam, John, and Hardy to remember that this is indeed Rolling Stone magazine.
All right.
So let's not, it's not breaking the, it's not, Discord Records guys and stuff like that. Like, these are fairly mainstream operations. I mean, I think everything here is a major label, and maybe fairly so. It is the 50. I heard someone talking about this, and I found it interesting, and I would like to get your opinion of this. The 50 most disappointing albums of all time. I'll get it out of the way. There's not much past 2000. All right. So
Okay.
In fact,
All right.
I will give you the one that's past 2000 that I see.
I was gonna guess one.
You'll never guess it.
Oh,
your Chance the Rapper's The Big Day.
Oh no, I was gonna guess the Kanye album, the really weird one. Yeah, was it Ye?
Okay, there is a Kanye West album.
Oh.
From 2016. You're right.
There you go.
Was that? Oh.
It's called The Life of Pablo.
Oh no, I would have said the one after that, but okay.
Yeah, it'd be slightly hard to remember now, but there was a time before he destroyed his name by going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. That's quote unquote. When the new Kanye West record was a source of tremendous excitement. He had the college dropout in Yeezus, and then my beautiful dark twisted fantasy, and then 2016 The Life of Pablo. People say that's not good, I guess. They were disappointed by that.
Okay.
But there is there's a couple things from past 2000.
Okay.
But not a lot.
All right. That helps.
Yeah, I wish I'd known that going in, because my first guess is kind of...
Well, I mean, there are things from past 2000. There's not a lot.
No, I mean, like the whole Rolling Stone major label thing, because, Fred, I'll be honest with you, I was going to go Shelter's 1990 Perfection of Desire. I mean, you had Ray Cappo, Ray of Today from Youth of Today, very highly anticipated. What's he going to do after Youth of Today? And he does this Hare Krishna crap.
Well, that's what Youth of Today was.
They weren't Krishna.
Oh, he certainly was. Him and the guitar player were Krishna.
No Shelter.
Krishna consciousness.
Is this 12's idea of a joke?
It's an in-joke with me and Fred. We were literally just talking about this last
you
week.
too.
It is the band Shelter that came from Youth of Today, yes. Which was a Krishna core band.
Yes.
They were on a major label.
They were. They
very
did.
big in Brazil.
Yep.
I just heard the Ray Capo album. He's a monk now in upstate New York.
All right.
They still play out?
Shelter or Youth of Today?
Shelter.
Okay.
12 and I were talking about this for literally 30 seconds. We both had one guess right off the bat. You want that one, 12?
No, take it.
Guns N' Roses, Chinese Democracy.
Yes, of course. Chinese Democracy is number 5.
Wow.
Whoa.
How many total on the list?
50.
Oh, I already have
What did they have to say about it? Because I'm curious. Because what was it, 12 years in the making this album was before it was finally released?
Yeah, in hindsight, it was slightly crazy to expect anything spectacular from Guns N' Roses by the time Chinese Democracy hit shelves in November of 2008. Their 1999 song, Oh My God, from the End of Days soundtrack was profoundly unexciting. So I guess that was the last new music they had released. If you want to hear someone just eviscerate Guns N' Roses.
Eddie Trunk.
No, he's friends with Slash.
Oh, okay.
He's promoting his new blues group. It's Jason Newsted from Metallica. He talks about touring with Guns N' Roses, and he puts it, he puts their career in pretty good perspective. He's like, we opened because we knew we were going to go on time. We didn't want people to be pissed off at us, so we would go on time. And then he said, Axl would go on whenever his, palm reader would say it was okay. And that band had a 2-album run, and then they disappeared. So that band, if they would have just had a little bit of professionalism and Axl Rose wasn't indulged so much, could have been on par with like the Rolling Stones or Metallica for that matter.
Yeah.
Because you can lose a couple members if you're that big a band and still continue at a big part. But I can't go. There's just nothing for them to play. If you see them live once, what the hell else are they going to play?
I don't know, but I remember reading about Axl back in the day and the reasons why they would go on hours late. One of Axl's explanations was, I do a lot of running around on stage and I got to have my ankles taped. And, if I go out there, I could get injured. Like, okay, that's 2 minutes.
Aaron Rodgers doesn't tape his ankles before games.
Right.
He does because it hurt when he was backing up Brett Favre. He knew he was never going to play, and so he would get stiff if he taped his ankles.
Yeah.
So now he never tapes his ankles. So if a 40-year-old professional quarterback is going to NFL games without his ankles being taped, Axl Rose could go into a show without being taped, but he had to wear pants that showed off his seemingly giant penis.
Yeah, right on.
It's funny, the revisionist history, too. Like, I remember doing a piece for Rock 92.9 a couple years ago about that tour.
Oh, we all read it.
Thanks. Guns N' Roses, Metallica, Faith No More, and Foxborough. And people
of course.
the Guns N' Roses, that was an amazing show. No, it wasn't. They went on like 2 hours late, and half the crowd had left after Metallica because they got sick of waiting around to see Guns N' Roses go.
No. I do have a Metallica guess. It is post-2000, but Saint Anger certainly has to be on the list.
That's
somewhere.
a good guess, Hardy.
I didn't see it. I will look. I don't think Saint Anger is on.
That's loud.
Because when you come out with Load and Reload,
maybe Load is the answer.
No, there's no Metallica. And why would Load be the answer? If you come out with Load and Reload, that's the pinnacle of your career.
Thank you.
And no writer is going to go, this is going to get any better than this.
Well,
they finally hit the top of the mountain with Reload.
The true Metallica hardos will tell you that Black is their most disappointing album.
No. Black is not a disappointing album because it led to Reload. It was part of the path that led you to enlightenment. Like, you can't, if you stray along the way to enlightenment, you still reach enlightenment.
All right, a real guess pre-2000. Do you have 112?
I have actually, I think will be the one. Did you already share the one post? I'm having trouble
just go ahead.
Just guess.
I think the new Katy Perry album, which got panned all over the place.
She's not an artist that would any expectations. Think all-time rock band, obvious choice. All-time rock band, it's an obvious thing. It's number 27 on this list. You might not even get the album, but you'll get the era of the band.
If it's number 27, I don't know if it's all that obvious. Is it Van Halen?
Yes, it's Balanced by Van Halen.
Oh, sure, that's Sharon, right?
Yes, and that was easy, and now I take your sarcasm, I fold it up, and I keep it in my pocket for a rainy day. Go ahead, what else?
I have one that's going to upset you, Fred, but if you're going to get a little too cute, funny, fresh with this list, I would put, in terms of a disappointing album, Beastie Boys, Paul's Boutique on the list.
No, that's not going to happen because it's not just based on album sales.
But how disappointed was the label and legions of Beastie Boys fans when they heard Paul's Boutique the first time?
I made friends with David Migdal in high school just precisely, and I wasn't even in high school in 1989, precisely because we were both fans of the album Paul's Boutique.
I'm happy that you made a friend, but please answer my question. How disappointed was the label and many,
The label was
most of Beastie Boys fans?
The label was not overly they were disappointed with how it sold, but they weren't overly disappointed considering there was a big party on the top of the Capitol Records building for the release, and there's still pictures being sent out from it. Like Capitol Records was all in on that album.
I'm gonna lend you my 2 books that I have on the making of Paul's Boutique.
A 33 and a third?
Yeah, the Dan Loa.
I have that.
Do you have the follow-up?
No, probably not.
Well, I have it, and I haven't read it.
Okay, very good. So we're on the same page. I read the very disappointing Beasties book and saw the very disappointing.
You can't read that book.
I know it's right. It's like a comic book it's like a bunch of comic books stapled together. Go ahead.
I have one guess. Aerosmith started well, and then they had a really. I'm just saying the late '70s were not good for them. So I'm wondering.
Yes.
I have no idea. There were 2 or 3 albums in there that everyone ignored.
This is
Done with Mirrors. Is that what it is?
Done with Mirrors is a terrible album, and that would have been my guess. So I give you credit for that. But it is not. It's not even a bad album, but it's not
Pump?
No, Pump's a fantastic album. I love Pump. Pump's a fantastic album.
This is well gone over material. Yes.
I love the album Pump.
So which
the
album
euphemism for sex? It's from 1977. Draw the Line.
Draw the Line. Okay.
By Aerosmith. How'd you know Draw the Line was coming up? Did
That
you look
wasn't
at this
Draw the
list?
Line. No, not at all. I just pulled up something from Done with Mirrors.
Because Draw the Line is one of Aerosmith's great songs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do 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 do. When you draw the line, because when you do coke, you're like, woo!
Is it better than the 10-inch? Because that's
my big 10-inch
record. Oh, he said record. That's what he's talking.
Because if you didn't, you'd think penis, and I can't play that on the radio. All right.
How about a Bob Dylan album after he went electric or something like that?
I know which one. I know which one.
Okay,
Is there one on there?
Yes, it's 3. It's number 3.
Okay, it's the Jesus one from 1989 that's called Slow Train Coming. Is that the one?
No, it's from 1970.
Okay, all right, I'm off.
And you guys are not. Are you guys Bob Dylan fans? Because I don't know anything about this. It's self-portrait.
No, I'm not.
Oh, self-portrait.
Grail Marcus did not like it. Grail Marcus, who has very interesting books on music. If you are a complete dork who doesn't like anything entertaining, penned the most famous review in the history of rock criticism. What is this S? Is what he said. All right. I can take a couple more guesses, and then I will fill the audience in if you haven't Googled it already. If you are in your car driving.
Spinal Tap's We Are All Flower People. After the that is in the liner notes for the original Spinal Tap.
You guys have
album.
mentioned one of these albums recently.
Is it a Beach Boys album?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Is it Smile?
Smiley Smile.
Smiley Smile.
Nice. After Pet Sounds.
Nice.
All right. Think of bands that the Rolling Stone magazine would very much like. You're gonna. I mean, obviously, Yes's "Tales from the Topographic Oceans" is on there at number 9. But think of just very, very famous artists. This leads to be very, very famous.
Is there a Who album on there?
I believe so, but let's. Because I'm having trouble getting
face dances.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, but even more obvious.
Or the
than
one with
that.
Eminence Front. That's a one from
That's a
81,
put on.
right?
But that was a put on.
That is Athena on it. That one.
That's a good album.
That's a good album.
I like it.
The
but
album, it's hard.
It's hard. Yes, thank
There
you.
you go.
All right, go ahead.
How about U2?
Yes, U2 is on here.
Good job. Which what album? Oh, the
Zeropa?
Zeropa.
All right, let me. It is a U2 album on here, and as I scroll, you'll have to bear with me because if I don't scroll this way, they disappear.
They were doing great, and then they released this, and they released it in Kmart. You remember this? They didn't put. That was the thing.
Staying true to their punk roots.
Yes, I know.
All right. We are getting
exclusive release for Kmart, Hardy,
which is what all great albums
Which is, you know what, better than shoving it on everybody's iPhone when they didn't ask for it. Do you remember how pissed off people
yes,
got? Me
I got
included.
That too. Yeah.
Stop this.
Yep.
Every time I open my iTunes, a U2 song would play.
Yep, I remember
Stop
that.
it. I don't want it.
Hardy, were you at BCN when we gave away the U2 iPod Like that as a promotion, or was that before you got there?
I don't know.
Oh, that was a 99X thing. We did
had
that
the whole,
too.
Yeah, I think a lot of stations did. We had the whole catalog on there.
Yeah,
20 years ago.
Suffice it to say, there's a YouTube record on here. All right, go ahead. Keep going. I keep guessing.
Just pretend it's Zooropa.
It's not Zooropa because it's not the. That's not
Who
the
else
cover.
does Rolling Stone just sweat, and then they would be disappointed by something that they did? It's.
We were talking about one of these bands, a more modern band the other day too. There's a.
I'm gonna go Weezer Pinkerton because no, okay,
because that's considered a good
fan
album.
favorite, but
Songs
it
of
was panned
Innocence
when it came out.
Songs of
Okay.
Innocence is the U2 album.
Oh,
When I scroll,
Good,
it's
it
very
stinks.
difficult
What year
because the
was
things
that?
don't come up. Now you're asking questions when I already scrolled away.
All right, why
so
don't
you find that on your own time.
Why don't you give us the top two since we already guessed number three?
But you should be able to guess the bands for the or the artists for the top two.
Okay,
it's
what-
Rolling Stone magazine. I
Can
mean,
you
you guys
give us
are
some
cultured.
kind of a hint,
It's
please?
Rolling Stone magazine. They're pop. It's so obvious the top two bands. It couldn't be more obvious. In fact,
That's
it's a
not
little
hint.
insulting.
That's not a hint. I'm insulted that you think saying
The
Rolling
audience
Stone is a hint.
The audience is gonna just go, "You fools."
The audience is guessing. I'm getting emails.
Just you're fools.
Okay.
Rolling Stone magazine. The
The
first.
Rolling Stones.
Thank you. The Rolling Stones. You dumbass.
Steel Wheels.
Which album? Oh, Steel Wheels.
No, it's a album from the
Steel Wheels.
60s. Steel Wheels. I mean, they were cooking that.
You're
time.
not the only one.
I mean, you have to be disappointed. So something good had to come before it. Like Steel Wheels wasn't like, oh man, like you were riding high, and then Steel Wheels came out. It's the satanic, their satanic majesty's request.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Was that number one or number two?
That was number two. Number one is
Something got to be Beatles related. Is it a Beatles album or is it like
No,
a Paul
there's no-
McCartney piece of crap?
No, it's got to be a solo. It's got to be a solo
Wings.
thing. It's got to be like a Lennon or a Harrison
All
or
right.
something like that. Right?
Oh, Harrison, very good.
Right?
No, but not as much. I'm gonna go John Lennon.
Yeah. What's his first solo album?
I don't know.
Sometime in New York City is the number one.
All right.
If you would have thought about it.
We got there.
Bob Dylan's Self-Portrait's number 3. David Bowie's Tonight from 1984 is number 4. Chinese Democracy is number 5. Bruce Springsteen's Human Touch, which he does not like, is number 6.
Yes.
Smiley Smile, as we discussed, was number 7. Stevie Wonder's Journey Through the Secret Life of Plants.
Jesus.
From 1973.
Sounds like a Pixar movie.
Songs, I think that one came after Songs in the Key of Life.
Yeah, no,
which
that was
a
the
big album.
smash. So he did that one.
Number
Yeah.
9, of course, as we mentioned, yes, is Tales from a Topographic Oceans.
Obviously.
And number 10 was Michael Jackson's Invincible. So there you go. And then there's a Lou Reed record at number 11.
Is there a Grateful Dead album on there,
yes,
Fred?
the Dylan and Grateful Dead combinations.
Dylan and the Dead.
John, strangely enough, was the best at this. John was the best at this, and because he thought he deduced in your face, Hardy.
Yeah, Hardy.
Powers of deduction based on it being Rolling Stone magazine. He got that going. All right.
I said Rolling Stones. He didn't say it.
But he
I
knew.
didn't say that.
But
he
knew
nodded when I said
Beatles.
it?
He knew Beatles. He did better than you. Now, here's the thing.
Powers of deduction.
Hardy and
time.
because Hardy very much insulted John and hurt his feelings by saying he didn't have powers of
Already
deduction.
did.
I hope you two have made
In
up
your
since
face.
then. And I had your back the whole time, John. All right, here's the deal: is that Adam and Hardy especially have worked in music radio for a very, very long time. This got me thinking. I wanted to lean on your two's expertise, even though it's a little dwindled since we've done this segment. When you were in radio, bands you heard and thought, A, this is going to be huge and it flopped, or B, sucks and is going to be a flop and it got huge.
Oh, God.
The flopping and getting huge is, or you guys ended up playing it a ton. Huge means you ended up playing it a ton because there's a lot of those.
I've already got a few here.
Yeah, there's so many that I can't even. It's like one of those things like when you get on Spotify and you can't think of anything to listen to because everything's available.
Yeah.
There were so many bands. I'm like, there's no way. Low Fidelity All Stars.
Oh, Battle Flag, yeah.
Like just we played that for 10 years.
Yeah.
Like it's a bad song. It's a bad derivative, like crappy, like quasi, like dip your toes into techno.
Okay. So, but I'm gonna stay away from the songs. I'm just gonna go with bands. And I've been wrong on both sides of this.
All right, very good. I look forward to hearing it. I think the audience will enjoy it too. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Full ball of flame.
And a whole lot of Boston sports.
And I have had many offers to become an insider.
Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Churcher and Hardy. Jeff Goodman's going to join us to talk about Celtics NBA and Cooper Flagg, who made his debut for Duke. Maine kid going to be the number 1 pick in the draft. Pucks and Paddles is back November 20th at the House of Blues, Boston, to benefit the Special Olympics Massachusetts. Bidding is officially underway to play with your favorite active Bruins player, me, Ryan Johnston, or Hardy. Visit the event page at 985thesportshub.com to bid now. And obviously the ping pong is just an excuse to spend time with your favorite player, take pictures with them. It's an intimate event should you be someone who has access to the floor with all the tables at it, and the players are generally nice fellas, unless they're tall, redheaded defensemen. And then they're kind of dicks.
That was
Dougie.
Dougie Hamilton. And it might not even be his fault because he was so unsocial that I don't even know what's going on with him.
I went back. It was my job. We were co-hosting, the two of us that year. And I remember we had a fan say, bring Dougie out. I went back and got him. He could not have been more like a piece of cardboard than any. I've never dealt with anyone like that.
Well, he didn't want to be here, and
that's what he sounded like.
Didn't have guys to go out with at night.
That's what he said. That's exactly what he sounded like. No, it's good to see everybody.
And the girl, will you go to the prom with me or whatever? And he's like,
okay. Yeah.
Well, come up here. And then she comes up and he's like,
Let's see.
Like, just, all right, dude. We've been talking John and I have been talking for 2.5 hours. That was what Cuts for a Cause was, talking. Oh, boy, did you have to talk. You had to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. You had to talk until your face turned blue. It was so much talking. It went from something in a conference room where there were girls to something that was just a talk fest. All right, so we just did the most overrated albums of all time, according to Rolling Stone. Now, Adam, you and Hardy...
Yes.
Both have worked in music radio for very, very long periods of time.
Yes.
And that at the time was a great opportunity because when you guys would have meetings, I would imagine once a week with programming, and you guys would go over albums that you'd been sent. And every so often, it wasn't a corporately dictated song. You could play you could add something to the rotation. And so I'm sure also that there were songs that you guys played, as I did, that you went, this is worse than all the other bad stuff we're playing, and there's no way this is going to become big, and then it becomes something that you are playing a long time, a lot of the time. All right, so here we go. Tell me what you had heard either way.
First thing, 12 just bumped back with Buffalo Tom's Soda Jerk, which I still contend should have been a massive smash hit, but by the time I got into radio, it had already been out for a while, and it wasn't a hit, and that was a shame. That should have been a high water mark for post-grunge alternative radio, and people just didn't get it. But it bothers me to this day that song was not more celebrated.
And by the way, one station could break a band back then.
Oh,
like U2,
FNX did it countless times, and that's actually an example. I mean, it never didn't break nationally, but it's funny, Hardy, like the perspective, right? If you had grown up here, you would have been like, oh, that had to have been a huge hit.
Okay, but here's the thing with breaking bands, because Oedipus made a very nice living off of breaking bands.
Yes.
Because what would happen is Oedipus here at WBCN and Kevin Weatherly at K-Rock in L.A., they would decide to play a song. And then in markets like the one I was working in, Market 115 in Lansing, Michigan, we would often say, oh, what did BCN and K-Rock add this past week? We should start playing that next because it's going to be a hit. Not knowing that we were just feeding this monster. Those guys knew exactly what they were doing. And Oedipus, I think he won a couple of BMWs from the Airplay Monitor contest
where every year,
you pick the hits, and if you pick the most hit songs, then you win a car at the end of it. And like we didn't know, dummies that we were, we're just going to play songs that BCM play because that song's going to end up being a hit. And Oedipus was like, yeah, I knew that. I knew that every other small alternative station in the country would start playing the next week what we played. That song would become a hit, so I would look like a genius at the end of this. They weren't necessarily better than any other songs. We were just following what they played.
Sure.
But there are stories like the guy playing the B-side of a Kiss record, and it was Beth, and then that became a big hit. There is examples of like a DJ like playing a song and then that becoming taking off from there. Like that station in Cleveland. Like there was a DJ in Cleveland that would end up playing, like he played a couple songs and they ended up breaking huge acts.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I have very few victory laps. I think I was among the first to play Godsmack's Whatever outside of
Thanks.
Massachusetts. We played that in Las Vegas.
Good job.
We may have been among the very first outside of a very small group to play the Linkin Park song, One Step Closer. I said, oh, this song is freaking massive. This is going to be huge. And they ended up being huge. But
the Godsmack thing is enough probably to just get you through a couple of lifetimes.
Yeah, I would think so. Thank you. But I've been wrong so many times. Yeah,
me too.
I thought a certain little band with a 3-word name, 12, that had one song with a 3-letter name that had a 4-letter title for their one song that became...
Oh, yes.
She thinks she missed the train to Mars. She's out back counting stars.
This should have been,
I thought this band was going to be the next Nirvana. I'm like, holy crap, what a sound, what a song. Hum, stars. It's the beginning of something huge for these boys.
Stars is 5 letters.
Yeah, but I just went singular. This is a really good
Have you
song.
ever seen these guys play this live?
Yes.
Then you would have known exactly what
Yes,
it is.
exactly. They did not look the
No,
part.
they were huge dorks.
All right, say like
and she missed the train to Mars is a terrible lyric. Go ahead.
The year after that, Hardy, I had one that I loved that was that I thought should have been a huge smash hit from and they were an LA band. Tool took them on tour. They had a major label deal through Slash. This was like their 3rd album. It was meant to be their breakthrough. The whole album's great. It was this band called Failure, and their lead single was Stuck on You. Had a cool music video that was based on like the intros to James Bond movies. It was just so cool and sounded great. The production was outstanding, and 4 singles, the album went nowhere.
I don't hear a hook.
That was the hook. And it took them,
That's the problem.
no joke, it took like 1:45 to get to it. Remember that when people had attention spans and you could put a hook like a minute into a song?
No.
Oh, if you want to go by hook, the brand new Immortals Reason Why with Johnny Colt's band.
I don't know that one.
Oh, get Reasons Why by I just said the name of the band and now I can't think of it. They had a black lead singer. It was Johnny Colt from the Black Crowes, his band. He was the bass player of the Black Crowes. He was a great guest. He used to come in with a notebook full of stories from the road. Brand New Immortals is the name of the band.
Okay, so
Reasons Why.
You want to know one of my worst misses of all time? And this happened with 2 separate bands. One, I thought they were both going to be novelty acts based on the sound of their first single that broke. One.
Oh, yeah. Everyone thought Beck was... Like, if you didn't listen to the album...
Even Beck thought it was a joke.
Yeah, you had to think that, like, he's just, like, a self-deprecating white guy doing, like, a jokey rap. Yeah.
He only wrote about maybe not even half of that song. The other guy was a guy who had legitimate mental issues. He had one.
All right, your mic's on, Adam, if you want to stop talking.
The guy that he wrote that song with had another band called Forest for the Trees, which is a really cool song called Dreams, but the guy was completely unstable and he couldn't get it together. So Beck only gets like partial songwriting credit for the song that made him famous. He's gone on to have an amazing career.
Yes.
He's a legitimate artist and songwriter, but based on that, I couldn't have been more wrong. Is this Forest for the Trees?
This is Forest for the Trees Dreamer. The album version has that little intro to it with the...
all right. Well, why are you not playing Brand New Immortals Reasons Why? That's what I want to know. I asked for that, and you're playing things Hardy just said.
Because I gave him a heads up a few minutes ago. Some of this
Well,
stuff...
it just occurred to me. I work off the top, baby. Tell me this shouldn't have been a hit.
All right, I'll listen to it.
You sit back and listen to it. David Ryan Harris was the lead singer. Johnny Colt, the bass player. Kenny Penis in Pocket was the drummer. He would put his penis in your pocket while you were talking.
Delightful.
Wait until it gets to the chorus, too. You like it already, but wait until it gets to the chorus.
I gotta say, I don't.
$1 million chorus, shut up!
It's not there yet. We're doing the double verses. It's coming. I can hear it.
It's popping now. Here we go.
Ugh. That's not bad.
That's a fantastic.
I mean, I don't love it. I wouldn't but
Change with the season, and you'll be the reason.
Why?
I mean, listen.
Listen, you go.
She missed the train
You're
to
the host.
Mars. She's out back counting stars.
Yeah,
Good song.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're going to talk about lyrics, let's get real.
I'll take reason-
John, that's a hit, is it not?
No, it's not.
It reminds.
That's not it. What? That's a pop song.
That's a big hook. I
It's
get
a
it.
$1 million hook.
I don't like it personally, but it's a big hook and it should have been a hit. And you know what? It's not this.
Hanging around.
Oh yeah,
Piece of crap.
Yeah, this
It
is bad.
sucks.
This stupid
I know
songs.
nothing about
this
music,
stupid
and this
Marcy
sucks.
Playground, stupid Sex and
Yeah,
Candy.
it's
Awful.
bad.
Yeah, that was an indictment of the
You made me
generation.
play it enough on Rock 92.9.
Yeah, no
I thought you were
kidding.
in love with that song. I thought you
No.
wanted to make 900
Hate
babies
it.
with
and
it.
I don't understand why people love it. Same thing with this one. You guys like this? Fred, you mentioned that you liked this one. Was
I
out.
do
Or
like
maybe it was
this.
Yeah,
Party.
this
Like,
is
this song blows too.
It's okay. I want to know.
It's about
How
old
can you
people.
hate this?
Because it's not good.
See, I like this
Wait,
song.
how can? But a hook is a hook. I thought it was just something that everyone can agree on.
I like Fire Escape better, but this is good.
Like a pop hook is what it is.
Wallach going deep on the fastball catalog is impressive, man.
It really is.
Right.
Yeah.
But Adam, how can you not like a hook is a hook? It's undeniable. Like even if you don't like the
Sure.
artist, and even if the lyrics are dumb,
And that's what I'm
a
saying.
hook is undeniable.
Yes.
But
Then-
but tell me how you can not like that?
Because-
like not like it doesn't appeal to you. The part of your brain. We're all human. We're all the same.
But not every hook applies to every person.
Oh, I don't know. $1 million hook applies to every person.
Then I
would
guess
think
I don't
so.
think that's. Then I guess I'm saying that's not $1 million hook. It's a hook
Well,
for
it
some
was.
people, not
I mean,
for
it
me.
made him.
Yeah, no,
it made
that's
someone
fair.
$1 million. Probably not them.
Same with
but it
Marcy
made
Playground.
someone.
I thought The Offspring was a novelty act. With
Well,
come out and
they
play.
are a novelty act. I mean, they became a novelty act.
Separated.
But they're huge.
Well, out of all those SoCal punk bands, The Offspring was what 100th of the best.
Yeah.
like that was just the luck of the draw.
Face to Face was better than that.
Face to Face, even though
Yeah.
they completely copied the Descendants, were a better band. No Effects is a better band. Lagwagon's a better band. I mean, there's a million better bands. All right, very good. I can hear Nicholas. He's working very hard on the phones. Jeff Goodman. We have to talk about sports. It's been 40 minutes. Jeff Goodman will be joining us. He covers the NBA. He's very familiar with college recruiting, everything. Be Real says the New Radicals, you get what you give, which is another great hook. I mean, it's a corny song, but it's another great hook.
Critically acclaimed. Go back and read what people wrote about that song when it came out. They said this thing touches all the bases.
And he had balls to take shots at Courtney Love and Marilyn Manson, and you might think he didn't, but he did. I mean, those were mainstream radio bands.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Sports Hub headline.
Around the internet.
Get up.
The cat is finally out of the bag.
Get up.
We're back. Hunter and Hardy.
Get up.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
And you can win. You haven't much to lose.
I couldn't in good conscience tell you that would be a good idea.
Fred won't let me do anything.
Yeah, he was like, I want to talk to my doctor about this medication, and I'm not someone who says don't take medication. I do, but this certain medication, I'm like, you don't want to take that. I just rehab for it, and someone else who I was seeing.
You don't think I could handle? You don't think I could handle it?
No, I just don't. I don't want to be around you if you're taking it. It's speed. Like, if you want to take a bunch of benzos, be my guest. But don't. If you're taking speed, I don't want to be around anyone on that in the morning.
Got it.
Trust me. I'll talk to you off the air about a theory of mine.
Yeah, I was just going to say, that might explain something.
Yeah. I'll talk to you about a theory of mine, too. Jeff Goodman is the co-founder of Field of 68. He's a basketball analyst for Stadium, covering hoops on all levels, and he joins us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Jeff Goodman, it's always a pleasure, sir. Thank you.
Likewise, guys. How are you?
We are doing well, and Cooper Flagg, who is from Maine, the basketball haven of Maine, was the talk of the NBA summer because he was practicing with the Olympic team, and people were talking about how he was taking over scrimmages. He's made his debut at Duke. He had this huge dunk in the lane. He boasted a kid. He's going to be the number one pick in the draft. What have you seen of him, and tell us a little bit about Cooper Flagg?
Yeah, we think he's going to be the number one pick. I don't know if I would say 100%. But
interesting.
He'll likely be the number one pick.
There's
unless something crazy
a kid from
happens.
Rutgers that's supposed to be very.
Oh yeah, there's two kids on Rutgers, right? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, Ace Bailey, who didn't play last night, has a higher upside. He's long. He looks the part, athletic. And then you got Dylan Harper, who's Ron Harper's son, who's probably doesn't have the stealing of Ace Bailey. But, yeah, two kids at Rutgers, of which, how about this, guys? We've come to the point in NIL now where players and their families are now asking for money to do sit-down on-camera interviews.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it sucks. It's tough, man. I get it. Like, they all want money now, NIL, their brand, what they're worth. But, like, I didn't think we'd ever get to this point where – because my take is, like, I can help them with their brand. Like, I can help them look good. Like, it's only beneficial to them. That's my whole goal in college, to make these kids look good, loosen them up, have fun, do a 10 or 15-minute interview. And, Ace Bailey's representatives wanted some cash for me to sit down and do an on-camera interview.
Well, that's ingenious because Rutgers is the center of the basketball universe, and outside of you and I and John, I doubt that anyone knew that team, listening to us, knew that team had two stud freshmen. So that's a great promotion. Maybe they should hire a PR rep with all that money.
Yeah.
And second of all, college coaches are quitting. The Virginia coach quit. The Villanova coach quit.
Yeah.
When are they going to start regulating this NIL situation a little better?
I mean, they got to do it soon. But the problem was, again, NCAA punted. Former President Mark Emmert was a complete clown and didn't do anything. So he dug a huge hole for Charlie Baker, who's now running the NCAA. And Charlie has no chance to dig out of it. So they punted it to Congress, and they're trying to implement some guardrails now with revenue sharing probably coming in next year. All I think that's going to do is encourage cheating again, because you're going to try to cap it. And when you try to cap anything, these coaches in college sports are going to say, well, how can I get around that? Well, I'm just going to give money directly to the kids and the people and such. So anyway, let's get back on to your original question. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, it's interesting.
Divert there.
I think it's very interesting, and I think it affects sport at all levels. It affects high school to AAU to pros. So
they're pros now. Yeah, they're pros. I had one kid I put out. I'm not going to say who he is, but I put out that one kid was asking for $1 million. who got in the range of $1 million to play this season in college. And I put that number out there, said he was going to make $1 million. He called me and basically said, I'm very disappointed that you put that number out there. I said, hey, man, here's the deal. I know it's true. 3 different schools told me that was the number your people were asking for. He said, well, now the problem is when I don't play well, everybody's going to know how much money I'm making, and that's going to be a lot of pressure.
Jesus.
I said, man, welcome to the real world.
Yeah,
you're a pro now, man. You're making more money than I am.
Oh, that's hysterical. He would. Well, I apologize to you, sir. I didn't know that this $1 million salary came with. I'm just a kid. No, you're not.
Kid, I wanted to live my life without consequence.
Yeah, you're just like any other 18-year-old that's on their own. If you're making money, baby, you're responsible. You got a whole other set of responsibilities. You can't have it both ways. That's very funny. What an idiot, or what a not an idiot. What a naive kid. Hi, Hachi Machi.
Yeah. That nice kid just doesn't understand that now you're going to be treated differently. In the past, I would rarely, if ever, criticize a college player directly. Now, I think I have the right to be able to do that. They don't play well. I think I can criticize you if you're making $1 million.
Absolutely. I mean, who was the college coach that said I'm going to treat them like pros? If now if they're going to get paid like pros, I'm going to treat them like pros. This is going to be a pro basketball operation. It might have been Calipari.
Cooper Flag is like a pro. I will say that. A reclassified freshman, guys. Reclassified, which rarely works in college basketball. And this kid might be the player of the year this year. He is that good. He is that unique. He is that skilled. He has that type of basketball IQ. I can't wait to see once he gets on the big stage, which will really be next Tuesday. Duke plays in the Champions Classic down in Atlanta. I'll be there. And I think that'll be, the first look at him, when you're playing Maine, let's face it, the diehards are watching. Nobody else is watching. Next Tuesday night, everybody will be watching. And this kid, his biggest strength as a player is his versatility. It might be his passing and shot blocking, believe it or not. He's not an elite shooter, but he's gotten better. He can just get to the basket when he wants. He can find people. He can score around the basket. He's a terrific defender, really good athlete, just makes people better. He's like a point forward, and he's kind of a killer. I can't wait to see if he's hated by nationally like Christian Laettner was. He's not he doesn't have the arrogance of Laettner, but he's also like, screw you. He doesn't care about the media. Not that he's disrespectful, but he just doesn't give a you-know-what.
He's a white kid at Duke.
To go out there and kill people.
He's a white kid at Duke. He's automatically going to be hated. I hate him.
He'll be hated, but at that level. At
Laettner level?
That's different. Yes.
That Wojo kid was pretty annoying.
J.J. Redick level hate? Are we talking about that?
He might be. Yes, he might be.
Wow. Do you like J.J. Redick?
So, yes and no. I'm torn on J.J. Redick. I respect him because he again, I think he was fairly transparent when he was a analyst, and he would take shots at people and be fairly honest. But we had one interaction where he was like, well, I can be completely objective. I'm like, no, you can't. You played with some of these guys. You have relationships. Nobody can be completely objective. Shut up.
Right. He seems very arrogant if you're talking about arrogance. I mean, he seems incredibly arrogant. I mean, you know about basketball. That's a very niche thing. Let's not start thinking that we're solving the world's problems here. All right, listen, Jeff Goodman, I personally could talk to you all day. I love your insight. I love that.
I'm going to give you one more thing. One more 10-second bite before I go.
Yeah.
The Tatum, Steve Kerr thing, I know both well. And the thing I love about it is, Tatum doesn't get involved in the drama, guys.
It sure looked like it last night. The one thing about Jason Tatum, he really doesn't. He really,
in the moment maybe, I don't think he really gets involved in the drama and the build-up and all that, the reality TV crap. I don't. I think he just wants to play ball.
Do you think he was upset not playing? Because I can't tell it. I'm not being sarcastic. Do you think he's upset now? Do you think he's upset now, I should say?
Yeah, I think it hurt him. Yeah, I think it hurt his ego.
Because my take is that they gave the run to the older guys that aren't going to be on the team again.
That's right.
And you have a gold medal, and you'll get another one probably, and you'll be a leader of that team.
But at the
have
same
some perspective.
time, I saw him, and Jeff, I don't know if you saw this. I saw him after the game turn around and walk up the tunnel. Kerr made a point to go out to midcourt and shake hands with everyone. Tatum wanted no part of that. He was gone.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm not saying he's not upset. I'm just saying that's the way that I would, if I was him, I would try to look at it. All right, listen, Jeff Goodman, you're the best. He's got
Thanks, guys.
Field
Love
of
you.
68. Thank you so much. He writes for Stadium. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
You got it.
All right.
Later, guys.
All right. Joe Murray is an all-star. We have more audio from him coming right up.
A Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
The Golden State Warriors were beaten by 52 points the last time they came to Boston. Last night they returned to TD Garden and made sure things were different.
Steph, end of the front court. Challenged by Derek White. Draymond sets the screen. Horford jumps out, and Steph Curry out near half court. Steph, 2 dribbles with the right hand. Push pass for Buddy Hield. Corner 3. Got it.
See, you go to try to guard one guy. And Steph Curry's smart enough to utilize other weapons.
That is Sean Grandy and Cedric Maxwell here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Buddy Hield's dagger three-pointer put away a 118-112 Warriors win at TD Garden. Jason Tatum scored a game-high 32 points for the Celtics in the loss. They fall to 7-2. They'll host Brooklyn tomorrow night. The Bruins will be in the building tonight to play Calgary. Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers have the pregame at 6:30 and the face-off at 7 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Patriots will be in Chicago to play the Bears this Sunday. They were missing 3 players from practice yesterday. Kyle Duggar, Christian Ellis, and running back to Michael Hasty. An interesting game tonight in Baltimore. The Ravens welcome 4-5 Cincinnati to town, and the Dallas Cowboys have a large problem. The NFL Network was the first to report that Dak Prescott is dealing with a very serious hamstring problem. Apparently, part of the tendon there was pulled off the bone when he was hurt. He is not expected back anytime soon. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by my guys at Core Golf in Natick. The place to practice all year long. Keep your golf game sharp this winter with a membership to Core Indoor, and catch up with friends over Thanksgiving or host your holiday party at Core Indoor. Book now at kohrgolf.com. I'm John Wallach at Boston Tone for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
The biggest names in Boston sports. Talk to Boston's home for sports.
Jason Tatum joins us outside the Celtics locker
Jim
room.
Montgomery, coach of your Boston Bruins.
Celtics head coach Joe Mazzulla.
The games, the players, and your favorite shows. On air, online at 985thesportshub.com and on the Sports Hub app. Toucher and Hardy.
Such an fantastic explosion.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Here you will find food for your body, as well as comfort for your troubled mind. I'd really like some soup. Bread and butter? Yeah. Of course, my friend. What happened to your hand? Nothing.
The food, the good food that I had. Oh, food at last. Oh. A lot of food.
Oh, my God.
The food, the good food that I had.
Oh.
All right, so there you go, our friend Joe Murray. We are Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Why wouldn't you watch us on YouTube? It's a fun gathering of like-minded individuals. Just search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. I will tell you this much. Joe Murray is a superstar. Everyone loves him. There's nothing more
Holy smokes!
There's nothing more disappointing than when I get home and I take my nighttime showers on the account I don't shower in the morning. I take my nighttime showers and I put the station on and there's a game. I'm not kidding. I get very disappointed. I listen to Joe above anything else. Anything else, I will listen to Joe. I put Joe on. I love Joe at night. I love the station every day part, except for some weekend people. But out of fairness and caring, I will not mention who they are.
Huh.
I don't dislike any of the people, but just
Matt
there's some
McCarthy's
people.
going to be very disappointed in you.
Well, stop that. Stop that. Because it's not Matt McCarthy, and if you say Matt McCarthy,
It's not.
But
It's
then
not.
then it starts whittling it down. Stupid. You can't do that. You're mean. I just wanted to lend more credence to the fact that I like the weekday programming by saying I don't just blindly like everything.
You like
and then
everybody.
you start cutting.
Yes.
But then it doesn't matter as much. If I just say blindly I like everyone, then my compliment to the weekly the people that are here every day seems disingenuous. Not everyone knows how I operate. I operate at a very high functioning level.
Understood.
And sometimes that's
my
being
God.
undercut. Thank you, Joe.
Sure.
Anyway, I preface this by all saying Joe's the best. And Joe's show, if you don't listen to it, is unlike any other show on the station because
I want to dip it in.
Because you can ask him about anything, and Joe will take the
I
call.
love Cinnabon.
And just like Feinbaum, like he's got this special niche where it's just like he's at the head of a table and people are just walking up and there's no stream of, there's no like line of questioning. It's just pop, pop, pop.
Yeah.
People are like, Joey! And then he talks to him like he knows him, but he doesn't know him. It's a big gift that he has. So I don't hear these before we play them, but I wonder if I heard this when it was happening, but this is young Joseph.
So, yeah, and it is a subject matter that we're not accustomed to hearing Joe address. He'll talk about anything. It's one of the reasons why I love listening to Joe at night, too. But This is something I had not heard him touch on before, and people feel comfortable with Joe enough to ask him just about anything.
Kevin's in North Smithfield. Hello, Kevin.
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing?
This is not a sports call at all. I hope you don't mind.
Not at all. What do you got?
Am I allowed to date my sister-in-law?
Well, what's...
Now, these questions have screwed up even the bartender.
Yeah, the bartender went south on this.
When the bartender was asked if he should come out as a homosexual to his family, the bartender was
at a loss for words.
Yeah, because
not good for a talk show host.
Because what he was going to say was really going to impact the guy's life. But so all he did was he talked about this church that has a camp that could fix all that. That's what the bartender did. All right, here we go.
Well, all right, let's be serious. So it's your sister-in-law, meaning like the woman you married sister?
No one's technically married, but my sister is dating her brother.
Let me just write this down so I have it.
Okay.
Your sister?
My sister is dating my girlfriend's brother, but they were together first.
Okay.
So now I made a connection with my sister's boyfriend's sister.
So
is that allowed, or is that like Alabama stuff?
So no, just let's talk it out. There's no blood relation here, right?
No, there's not. We share a nephew.
Okay, so your sister is dating a brother of the person you're dating?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Is she a plus-size model?
Excellent question.
Is she a plus-size model? Because now that
what
is
I hope Joe asks.
That is a variable that could be very much in the favor of going on with the relationship.
But you want to date who?
No, well, it's too late for the question. We are dating. I'm dating my sister's boyfriend's sister.
So your sister's boyfriend's sister.
The answer to this, by the way, is who cares?
Sister, I miss you.
Oh, it's a great song.
Could use that in the other segment.
The thing is that the answer should be like, who cares? Big deal. You share a nephew. Oh no, the confusion that will occur. Pete Rosema and Kirk Gibson married twin strippers on the same day. They stripped at the same place, and they married them on the same day. And Kirk Gibson's still married to one of them.
Really?
But
yeah,
Gibson and Rosema were not brothers. This is where it gets weird.
But they were twin sisters. I mean, that's you and your buddy go into a strip club. There's a twin act. Now they must have been super hot considering that they were in like Canada, and so they go in Windsor. So which might be the worst city in the North America, and that's not an exaggeration. So they go into Windsor,
except for the strip clubs.
Well, I mean, they were not working at Jason's or the $1 Million Saloon. So they go in and they find these two twins. They're a twin act, and it's kind of weird. But they get into it. They start talking to the twins, and they decide at the same time to get married. That's odder than this.
Yeah.
Especially if you look at Pete Rosema now. My friend did a fantasy camp. And what a fantasy camp if you're a Tigers fan than to take BP with Dave Rosema. But he had to sit down and interview Dave Rosema, and Dave Rosema was just cracking him during the interview. He didn't care. He's like, if I'm going to be sitting here for half an hour, I'm drinking. He's like, what do you want out of me? I'm Dave effing Rosema.
Yeah, that's fine. Right?
You have it written down, right?
Yeah. Your sister is dating a dude, and you are dating the dude's sister.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Well, I mean, I feel like this was on like 90210 before, right? Was Brandon Walsh and...
Was it, John?
Oh, Steve Sanders and Brandon Walsh co-dated twins, you remember.
Oh, so it was a Rosema Gibson.
And then, well, Steve tried to switch. And the original twin substituted in his place and outed him. It was bad. Didn't work out well for Steve that day at the beach club.
But Fred, I still think you're missing the other relation element here. And I get why the guy is conflicted. You are related to somebody. Now you're having intimate relations with someone who is related to someone who is having intimate relations with your sibling.
Okay, say I live in a small town in Alaska. This is reality. I mean, there's only the gene pool is only so spread out. I mean, this is a modern problem, a big city problem. I mean, this type of stuff how your ancestors met each other. You don't think your ancestors were married to siblings?
Yeah, but we're talking about Rhode Island. This is not ancient times with
It's a very small state. A very small state. A very small state and a very parochial state, a provincial state. It's provincial is what I'm looking for. It's a place many people don't move to. You don't hear people moving to Rhode Island.
But people leave Rhode Island all the time for work.
Yeah, that makes more of my point. Is that they leave and then come back?
They would leave to find someone to date who is not related to.
How far are you willing to drive to date someone?
I should be asking you.
Not far. Well, no, the Cape. So far.
Yeah.
All right. So far is the correct answer. She was a very nice girl.
Valerie?
I'm not sure. Okay, so
how do we how do we use a Saved by the Bell 90210? Like, what do we have here? What kind of reference is it?
Well, I was thinking.
Well, I can tell you what it is. When Lisa dated Jesse's hoodlum brother that went to North Farmington along with Elizabeth Berkley. Seth Hoffman's brother.
That's right.
There's far too many of you.
Do you remember the episode of Saved by the Bell where Jesse Spano's her stepbrother comes in to live in the house?
That was for like one episode, right?
Yes, and her father was remarried for one episode until he got married in Hawaii.
Oh,
if you'll recall, that was
later.
Special.
Though. That was way after the run. I remember that.
90210 and Saved by the Bell were so good that they had summer seasons.
Yep.
Let that ruminate in your head.
That's how Leah Remini got her start.
On Saved by the Bell.
Yeah. Oh, I watched King of Queens yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
Almost an entire episode. It was the one where she was going for a job interview.
That's every episode.
And and her dad was talking crazy.
That happens from time to time.
No, but he tagged along because he had a rash, and then he wanted to hire one of the lawyers in the office where she was interviewing to represent him in his case against the dermatologist.
I'm familiar. In the Slam Ball episode, though, by the way, that I referenced yesterday, I did get some of the facts wrong. The King of Queens had burned himself and was put up on the couch, but he was loving the treatment he was getting from his wife. She was, nursing him, and he didn't want that to stop. And then she was at the gym, and she saw him playing Slam Ball. And that's where everything fell apart. His deception got the best of him.
Gotcha.
She found him out. And then there was the episode where she found his kit, his heroin kit.
Oh, wow.
It was a very special episode.
Found his rig.
Yeah, and then you know what? But next episode it was over. He was cured. He quit. He kicked it.
Oh, geez, I can't make a reference to a show.
Well, okay, so basically, your sister is dating a dude.
Yes, Joe. We understand what's going on. It's been explained several times.
Now you're dating the dude's sister.
Yes, Joe. Correct.
Yeah, I'm dating my good friend's sister.
So what's wrong with this?
Sister.
It's not your in-law.
Well, nobody's married, right?
Yeah.
And even if they were married, who cares?
Well, he came out and started throwing around the in-law thing. That's what he started the phone call with.
I was
trying to make it sound worse than it was.
Yeah.
No, but I would say to this guy, if you're questioning it, you have your answer. If you think there's something mildly wrong or off about it, the fact that you have to ask is your answer.
You know what I would tell him to do? Judge it by the love you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Is it worth breaking all these taboos?
The heart wants what it wants.
Dip it.
I think if you're going to have a kid and there's no problem of any genetic situation happening, I would feel that would be a pretty good barometer. Like, you're not related. There's no blood relation. I mean, we have to limit these things. Again, like, what if we're like in a small town, a sheep herding town in Ireland? I mean, these are not things that you can just throw on the table. It's very American of us to put these labels on things, isn't it? This isn't a phone call to a French radio station. Oh, I've had it with this country. I'm moving.
Yeah.
Okay. Like everyone else who said that.
You know what? To answer your question, Kevin, there's nothing wrong with it.
All right, I'm going to keep on going then.
Wait, what's that? Does everybody know?
No, he's having sex with her now while he's on the phone, Joe.
Oh, I'm just going to keep going. Hold on. Be quiet for 4 seconds. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm going to take the rubber off and just keep going because now there's no problem.
Hold on.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, everybody knows.
And everyone's cool.
It was just a weird question. I don't know.
Has anyone made it weird?
No. The only thing that made it weird was like before we consummated was like the incest question. I said no, don't worry about it. Hey, Let's do this. You know what I mean?
So
Maybe you shouldn't be mating at all.
it.
Maybe you shouldn't be mating at all. If that was a question, not because of the circumstances, but that's an actual conversation that you guys had, like right before you had sex, maybe that's a big red light that you shouldn't be breeding with anyone.
Exactly.
If it's that confusing to you, if this is such a confusing prospect for you to manage, maybe the species is better off if this doesn't.
We're kind of related here.
That's what makes it all right.
Is that Jerry Lee Lewis ode to his cousin that he married?
No.
His 15-year-old
But
cousin?
another member of the $1 Million Quartet.
But hey, everybody knows now, and everybody's on board. Yeah.
All right, Kevin. You know what? I have to think about it. I don't think there's an issue here. Your sister's dating the dude, and now you're dating the dude's sister.
Hell yeah.
And everything's good, and everyone's happy.
Sister.
Everyone's happy.
Everyone's happy.
All right then.
All right.
Cheerio.
All right.
What?
Sister, I miss you.
Cheerio. We got in or out. Are you in or are you out?
You should have asked that guy.
I was just going to say, in is the answer.
We'll do that next here on the Sports Hub.
All right. Why don't we get calls like that?
I was thinking the exact same thing when 12 and I were listening to this yesterday. Where's our call about the guy who is having second thoughts about having sex with somebody who is having is related to someone his sibling is having sex with?
Not every dating call is a home run, Hardy. You might have to sort through a few before we get the one you want.
I tell you, when I work nights, it's because you got everyone drinking. That's what's the magic, is you got everyone.
Take a swap of a 6th and a 7th.
I just think the problem is you don't have a 1 and you don't have a true 2. And he's not a 1 and he's not a 2. Pop Douglas is your 3.
If I'm the team right now, do you know what I'm doing with that situation? Cutting him loose.
Well, why would you cut him? What if Pop goes down? What if Polk goes down? You're going to need somebody.
Yeah.
I'd rather have him than Fortno.
I don't want either one. In fact, I'd cut them both loose in the middle of the season.
Dillon and Bertrand. Weekday mornings at 10 on the Sports Hub. Hey, if your alarm clock sounds like this is the show for you. Toucher and Hardy, the Sports Hub.
Oh, yeah, baby. Dave Richard is the fantasy football guru at CBS Sports. We're Toucher and Hardy. There are 3 ways to link up with David Richard and his fantasy football advice. On Twitter, at Dave Richard. Live on YouTube every morning by searching for Fantasy Football Today, and 3 times per week on Fantasy Football Today on CBS Sports Network. You can check your local listings. Dave joins us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Hi, Dave.
It is week 10. We've hit the double digits. I've got a public service announcement for everybody out there. In week 12 and week 14, there are 6 teams, 6 on bye each of those weeks. And week 14, usually that's the last week of the regular season in your fantasy leagues. Just to give you an idea, like the Ravens, the Commanders, 2 teams with awesome offenses, they're going to be on bye in week 14. You might want to start thinking about planning ahead for those 2 weeks, especially if you've got studs that are going to be on bye while you're making your playoff push, or if you've got a lot of players with the same bye week. You want to start getting your ducks in a row, so to speak, so that you can survive that week, maybe even win, and make the fantasy playoffs.
All right, there you go. It's my best year of fantasy of all time. I'm 7-2.
Hell yeah.
Even with Nakua starting last week, who got kicked out of that game.
Yeah, well, at least he didn't get hurt. That's a step in the right direction.
That is a step in the right direction. All right. By the way, we plug your Twitter. What is your Twitter traffic like now as compared to like 3 years ago? How big a deal is Twitter in your world?
I mean, it's still a big deal because it's the easiest way for me to connect with people and to help them with their leagues, and that's something that I still get very excited about. Helping people. Not everybody wants to do that these days, but I want to try and be as available as I can and try and help people, do the best that I can to help people. Anyway, I'm not guaranteeing that my advice is always right, but I put in the work and the research, and some people email me, friends try and call me or text me, but when it's Sunday morning, when I'm on a live stream Sunday mornings on YouTube, I'm still answering questions on social media.
Dave, is it even more gratifying for you to have someone like Fred Toucher, who is in some ways learned to help himself through your tutelage? Is that what brings you true joy?
I don't know about true joy. The paycheck is pretty good, and winning my own leagues is pretty good. But yeah, I mean, listen, the best part about watching Fred win is he's done it without reaching out. And I've always told him, give me a call, give me a text, send me an email. You have all my information, Fred, but you never use it. And in years past, I'd shake my head and go, man, I wish he'd learn. I wish I could help him because I don't again, I'm not a genius. I'm not always going to be right. I mean, hell, Fred was right about Baker Mayfield this year. But I think I can help people who are struggling with their fantasy teams. And certainly, remember the years past, friend, we'd have these moments on the air, and you'd ask for people to get off the waiver wire, and then you'd say, oh, he's gone already. He's gone already.
Yeah.
Well, if we had been in touch on a Tuesday, they wouldn't be gone already, and they'd be on your team. But it's not happening this year, Wallach, and that's the best news of all. So seeing Fred 7-2, he is setting himself up for a great first-round loss in the playoffs.
Thank you. Well, you did, through the radio, help me because you suggested picking up Kareem Hunt while he was injured, and I did so, and that has saved my ass. And now I could make a big trade, but no one's approached me because I have a stable of running backs, a stable of them, Jonathan. Mm-hmm. You should really, if you have a receiver to dangle, I would listen. Go ahead.
Running backs are still the lifeblood of fantasy and the biggest trade chips that you could have. The problem with Kareem Hunt, I really shouldn't say this because I don't want to kibosh your trade value.
That's fine.
On him, but when Isaiah Pacheco comes back, what happens to Kareem Hunt? He's not going to see 20-plus carries a game. He'll split at best with Isaiah Pacheco. So that might be one player. If you trade him away, I don't think you should expect something great for him. But I'll tell you,
Then I'll ride him and put in one of my other studs. Go ahead.
Well, you can do that, and that's great. And then if something happens to Pacheco again, boom, you've got Kareem Hunt. I traded, listen to this trade, and maybe you'll wrinkle your nose at this, or maybe you won't. I don't know. But I also had a big stable of running backs. I traded J.K. Dobbins, Rico Dowdle, and DJ Moore, all for Jamar Chase. And, I create a trade chart each week to try and make trades even. I overpaid for Chase. I admit that. But now I'm not subjecting myself to terrible lineup decisions. My running backs outside of Dobbins and Dowdle on this, Dobbins and Dowdle were on my bench. Okay, so I was never going to use
on my bench.
Right, and I was starting DJ Moore, so I upgraded from DJ Moore to Jamar Chase. That's a pretty good upgrade. That's the type of move that I would make if I were you, Fred. Try and just pawn off some of this depth that you're not going to use. You might need it down the line. Hopefully you don't. But then you go and you get one of those superstar players that can win you a week or win you 3 or 4 weeks, and then you're not losing in the first round of the playoffs. You're winning the dang league.
Yeah. All right, so what injuries are you keeping to big-name players? By the way, I knew almost everyone involved in that trade of the players that you just mentioned. Not all of them.
Yeah,
but
you've
most
heard
of
of DJ Moore. That's excellent.
I have DJ Moore and Jamar Chase, of course. I've heard of some of these others, not so familiar with. But nonetheless, that's why we have you on. All right, what injuries are you looking at? I know Devontae Smith, if I can just save myself a little bit. I know Devontae Smith didn't practice yesterday, and he's not even on my team. But who are you looking at this week, and who are you worried about?
Well, we already know that there's no T. Higgins. He's doubtful anyway for tonight's game against Baltimore, so you better have a good replacement for him. The Bengals have been using Mike Gesicki as their number 2 option in the passing game. So if you need a tight end, that's a guy that you can go and grab and start. He's got top 5 upside in full PPR. Chris Olave, Amari Cooper, we're keeping eyes on them. Olave, we're not expecting. Amari Cooper might end up playing. He didn't play last week. He's got a wrist issue, but the Bills kind of got beat up at wide receiver. Keon Coleman, another receiver in Buffalo who might not play. So they might really need Amari Cooper. So we're watching him to see what goes down there. And then at running back, Brian Robinson might play. Tyjae Spears might be back for the Titans. Not that you'd start him, but that could eat into Tony Pollard's work. And then the biggest injury that we're watching, and the guy that we're watching the most, is in San Francisco. Christian McCaffrey is back at practice.
Oh, yeah.
And Jordan Mason's back too. And all indications are that if Christian McCaffrey makes it through this week of practice without issue, not only will he play for the 49ers, but the Niners are going to give him his normal workload. I would compare this to a wrestler drawing number 30 in the Royal Rumble, coming into the ring, fresh as can be, while everybody else in the ring is all beat up. And when it's Christian McCaffrey and you know what his upside is with fresh legs and a fresh body, he could do some serious damage for fantasy managers. It's just a matter of how much work will he really get. The Niners might give him his normal workload, or they might hold back a little bit, especially if the game gets one-sided. But it's kind of exciting to see what's happening with McCaffrey, and finally we're going to get to use him in fantasy.
That was like Don Morocco at SummerSlam. Don Morocco wrestled before SummerSlam. I love the wrestling references. All right, Dave, you watch every single NFL game. You've watched all the rookie quarterbacks. Where does Drake May, not fantasy-wise, just in terms of talent, in your opinion, rank among the rookie quarterbacks? Can you kind of give us an idea?
Yeah, I will. He's not up there with Jaden Daniels, but no rookie quarterback is. There are some veteran quarterbacks that are not up there with Jaden Daniels, so he'll be behind him. And I thought that Caleb Williams would eventually – I thought he was adjusting in like week 3 to the NFL game, but he's still kind of spazzing out there. And, Drake May, he might actually be – with all due respect to Bo Nix, Drake May might be the second best rookie quarterback playing right now. I love how he found Ramondre Stevenson at the end of the game last week, pushed it to overtime. I don't think Caleb Williams finds that. I think Caleb Williams he would make a mistake with the football before he found Ramondre Stevenson sort of open anyway, for a jump ball touchdown. So May's looking good, and I think that his prospects can be really good moving forward. He's going to need some coaching. Obviously, he still needs refinement with his accuracy, his footwork, all that stuff, but he's making progress. You can't say the same thing with Caleb Williams in Chicago.
So Chicago has problems all their own, and of course, Patriots have Chicago this weekend. What is the status of that locker room, do you think, Dave? We've heard some rumblings out of there and some outright comments about their game plan that players aren't on board with, and then some that are, let's just say, less than completely, supportive of the coaches. How bad do you think it really is?
Well, that's a question I don't know if I can answer because I'm not as dialed into that locker room as others, and I would guess that they view this week as a winnable game, just like the Patriots probably view this week as a winnable game for them. So this is going to be a very interesting matchup between these two teams. The one thing I will tell you is this: anytime that Caleb Williams has been calm in the pocket, makes good decisions in the pocket, and has good accuracy, the run game's been working for Chicago. And so I would assume, and this is just me based on watching what I see and knowing football, just like the basics of football, the Bears might come off the bus running and try and get DeAndre Swift going. And if they can, that should calm down Caleb Williams. It might calm down the pass rush for the Patriots, whatever there is to calm down. And I think that Caleb Williams could actually have a decent day throwing the football. I would look for Rome Odunze to maybe be, I don't know about the top target in the game, but the one who can make the most big plays, because he might get lined up against Jones the most in coverage. If the Patriots decide to go man, DJ Moore and Christian Gonzalez, that just makes sense. Keenan Allen plays in the slot. So I don't know if he would draw Marcus Jones. So Odunze versus Jones, there's a lot of speed there, but there's a size advantage there for Odunze. And I wonder if he would be the one. I'm kind of telling people, if you've got Odunze, hang on to him. And if he's on your waiver wire, stash him, because he might have a nice finish to the season.
All right, very good. Dave Richard, check him out on Twitter at Dave Richard. He answers all your questions. You know he's available on the Fantasy Football Today and the CBS Sports Network and on YouTube. Thank you so much, Dave. We appreciate it. And
I'll do it right now. Everybody, if you've got a fantasy question, I'll give you 10 minutes.
Ooh.
Tweet at me at Dave Richard. I'll answer.
There you go.
There you go. At Dave Richard. We'll leave it at that. Dave, thank you so much for the time.
Anything for you guys. Good luck in your league, Fred.
All right, appreciate it, Dave. All right, here's the deal, is that the Celtics played last night a very good game against Golden State Warriors, a game of stars shining, a game of grudges being played out, a close game with comebacks and failed comebacks and everything else. What did everyone have to say before and after the game? There were some interesting things. We will hear all of it coming right up.
this and more. Get it where you get your apps or at 985sportshub.com.
On the air, online, on the app. This is how Boston sports fans start their day. Toucher and Hardy on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Last night, the Celtics lost to the Warriors 118-112. Tatum with 32 points, Steph Curry 27 points. It was a fun game. The Celtics made a push at the end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter, but it was not enough. You got to see Draymond Green wave at the fans as he bravely sunk one of two free throws at the end of the game to seal things up. And
Draymond's the best. He didn't do anything offensively the entire game, and he drove to the basket and scored, and then just started screaming at everyone after a layup.
Listen, they were down. They were up 3 with like very little time left, like seconds left, and Green was at the free throw line. He bricks the first.
Yep.
Now the pressure's on.
Right.
With you're one possession away.
That's right.
And he bravely rattles it in, and then he waves at the crowd.
You see the penalty on Hauser? I think it was fourth quarter.
Oh, was that Steph on the 3 where Steph Curry kicked his leg out?
Yeah. No. It was a play I think before that where he knocked Draymond Green down. It was a pass off the dribble, and he ran. He was trying to cover Curry at that point, I think, but then he ran into Draymond, and Draymond flew back like he had been hit by a freight train.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I was like. Yeah. Good for Hauser when I was watching in real time. Like, oh, good for Hauser for, taking it to Draymond there. And then I watched it. I'm like, oh, he flopped.
No, Draymond's a much smaller guy.
Draymond, that's why you're going to get 6 rebounds, 9 points and make the Hall of Fame. That's why Draymond Green is going to be a Hall of Famer, and it's going to be a no decision. I mean, he's definitely in the Hall of Fame. So here's the deal. All the talk going into the game was how Jason Tatum was rudely benched by Steve Kerr, the coach of Team USA and the Golden State Warriors. And I do find it odd that if Tatum would still be upset because it wasn't a deliberate attempt to undermine him. And also, I don't understand how they won the gold medal. Well, it's over. Like if they didn't win the gold medal, then he's open for all the criticism. But don't embarrass the country with your behavior and win the gold medal. Those are your 2 charges. He did both of them.
Yeah, and to your point, Fred, it was not done as a means to. I don't think embarrass Jason Tatum.
Oh, no way.
It was done as a means to.
Embiid didn't play in a game.
Win every single game. Well, Kurt talked about both of those things when he was asked.
We can't control the story, So I mean, that's this job. From the beginning in Vegas. The whole thing was, hey, we're in this together. We got 12 Hall of Famers, and we're just committed to winning, and we won the gold medal. So I don't give it a whole lot of thought other than, I didn't enjoy, not playing Jason against Serbia, not playing Joel against South Sudan. Those are not fun decisions, but our guys were all amazing. They committed to each other. They committed to winning the gold medal. They brought the gold home for their country. They all handled themselves with incredible dignity and class, and that's the real story.
There's no better way to handle it than that. He could have said, I'm sorry Jason feels that way. It wasn't intentional. He didn't say that. He wasn't offended that people asked. He didn't say, I've got a really hard job to do. It takes a lot to go through this. He wasn't poor me. He wasn't.
No, he prefaced it by saying that you're all Hall of Famers.
Yes.
So that's the preface. And
did
that's
a great job of answering that question.
Which means that my call on Bam Adebayo being a certain Hall of Famer because everyone makes the Hall of Fame is dead on. And then 2, Derek White's going to the Hall of Fame. Hachi Machi.
Congratulations, Derek.
I mean, I feel sorry. That's like having a degree from Curry College after Bird comes on. Cheapened. You know what I'm saying? I'm kidding, Curry College. You have a beautiful campus, and you do wonderful work.
It's beautiful. All right, so Tatum, of course, also asked about it. This is gonna irritate you a little bit.
It wasn't on my mind. Just another Wednesday, another game, another opportunity to come in and try to be the best player I can be, and another day to just try to get a win.
Okay, so you're seeing Steve Kerr for the first time since the Olympics, and it was one of the stories of the summer, and it was certainly on your mind then. So it's not on your mind at all. Again, it's just a little bit of honesty. It's like, yeah, I hadn't seen him since then, and I thought about the Olympics. They have a game at hand, so you focus in on that. But now, just another Wednesday. It's just the Golden State Warriors and the guy that didn't play me in an Olympic game.
It's just such a funny story to me because he has guys on his own team. He's got 2 guys he played with over there who played less than him, and then he's got Jaylen Brown, who was kept off the team. Like, Jaylen Brown's got a legitimate gripe. Basketball screwed him. There's no reason Jaylen Brown shouldn't have been on that team, especially because it was Kawhi Leonard that got hurt, right? And
yes.
Kawhi Leonard and Jaylen Brown physically is much more like Kawhi Leonard than the person than Derek White who replaced him. Jaylen Brown's better at basketball than Derek White.
But you saw Jason Tatum and saw Jason Tatum walk off. Derek White at midcourt says hi to Steve Kerr. They're buddies. I think there was even a nice little hug there. Jason Tatum might have embraced Steph Curry real quick, walked the other way. There's something still there. Right or wrong, Jason Tatum sees this as a slight and will carry this with him, especially if these 2 teams play again in the NBA Finals.
Well, Tatum wasn't being done, I should say, the asking of questions about the Olympics wasn't over, and he's got a whole new mindset about that and everything else.
I mean, that's part of this job. That's what I've been dealing with my entire career. People want me to be, louder. People want me to be mean or whatever. One thing about Jason is, I'm always going to do.
Refer to yourself in the third person.
Yeah.
That's one thing that you can be assured of.
Yes.
Always the sign of mental health.
But
I think these AAU kids are being handled the right way.
Yeah.
We talked to Jeff Goodman about players asking for $1 million for an interview.
It's obvious when you hear stuff like this. It's not just about basketball. They're teaching them how to be, well-rounded, mentally secure individuals.
Have you ever, by accident, referred to yourself in the third person?
Never.
The answer for me is no, and I've never heard either of you do it.
Never.
I've only done it to be fake, self-aggrandizing. Like that, referring to yourself in the third person is a very interesting. He didn't mean to do it either. It was just how he talks.
Yeah, I do it in front of my kids when I am, playing the role as overbearing father. This is how Daddy does it. You want to come over here? You want to see how to take out the recycling? Watch Daddy, because Daddy's going to take out the recycling right now in a way that you should all aspire to.
Look at how Daddy takes out the treadmill and then ends up breaking his ribs. Don't do what. That's more follow what I say, not what I do.
Thank you for saying. Shut up, Walden.
We don't know that.
Shut up. Thank you for saying I broke my ribs because that stupid X-ray technician and doctor did not agree with your expert assessment.
Okay, they were shattered. My fault.
Do you want to? Well, you know what's annoying is my son has this shoulder tightness. They gave him 2 MRIs. There's no tears. He's doing physical therapy, and the physical therapist comes up to me and he's like, yeah, when I first saw it, I thought there might be some tear, but I'm not thinking that now. And I'm thinking to myself, he went to one of the great orthopedic surgeons in all of Boston. He gave him 2 MRIs and looked at the results, studied the results. He's seen him in person 3 times. And you're a guy that works at a physical therapy place, and you're telling me that you know more than what the doctor... I know he doesn't have a tear on the account of the doctor. Don't fill my child's mind with that nonsense.
Just give one more from Jason Tatum, and then we'll have the real fun.
I'll do what the I want to do and approach things how I want to approach it and what I feel is sincere to who I am as a person.
All right. Let's get to someone else you mentioned a few minutes ago, Jaylen Brown, who did not play in the Olympics. He did not play last night. Joe Mazzulla asked about Jaylen Brown, what his status. This went to a very Joe Mazzulla place.
Joe, just confirming no Jaylen Brown tonight, and if you have an update there, if you've talked to him about it.
Yeah, he's out.
Have you been able to talk to Jaylen about the injury?
Mm-hmm. I talk to him every day.
What were those conversations like?
I mean, we both kind of mumble when we talk, and then we just shake hands and move on.
Did he happen to mumble about his hip at all?
I couldn't understand him.
Do you have any sense if that's going to linger for a while?
The mumbling or the injury?
Both.
Oh. I don't. I mean, he works hard every day, trying to just come back. I think it's a day-to-day thing, so we'll see how he is when he wakes up tomorrow, and then just go from there. But he's in every day working at it.
Yeah. Finally, Joe Mazzulla has addressed the cadence in which Jaylen Brown speaks, and maybe it is sincere, because I always thought that Jaylen Brown puts on an affectation when he's interviewed to try to sound. It's like his idea of what smart people sound like. I'm not saying he's not smart, but it's just like his. That, I studied and know. But if he talks like that all the time and he mumbles like that all the time, then I have much more respect for Jaylen Brown.
John, when you and I talked to him a couple of months ago, I did not get that sense. I got a much more mumbling vibe out of Jason Tatum.
Yes.
Well, that's an exercise in futility, trying to interview Jason Tatum.
And Derek White, but I still think he was coming off his 19 hours in the dentist chair, which was still wreaking havoc.
Or his 19 hours at Colorado State games.
That's right.
Getting in fights.
He was
on
attacked.
the periphery of that. He didn't throw any punches. He just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time in Colorado.
Yeah, you ever been in the wrong place at the wrong time, Fred?
No, I'm always grounded. I'm like Wahlberg. 9/11 don't happen if I'm on that plane. You know what I'm saying? That's what a real quote from Mark Wahlberg. It wouldn't go down like that. Because you know why? The guy gets up early and works out. That's the key to life.
He plays 18 holes of golf in 15 minutes.
Yep.
Or whatever.
Spends time in a cryo chamber. Or
Oh,
whatever.
he's got the new thing now.
Yeah.
It's like a little heat. It's like a hot box. It's
he's gone the other direction.
Well, he's doing both.
Oh,
it's some kind of a sauna situation that he was pimping on his Instagram.
Because if you follow Mark Wahlberg, like say that you're in a dead end job that you hate and you're looking to get a career going. You don't have a relationship and that's bothering you, and you're trying to get your life together. You don't have any money saved. The solution is simple. Get up at 4 a.m. and work out. And then when you're done with that, maybe you follow David Goggins and you just run. You run. Mm-hmm. And then when you want to quit, you don't quit. You just keep running. And then you'll turn around and all your money will be saved and you'll be married to the woman of your dreams. It's so annoying to me, that whole hustle mentality. I get up at 4 a.m. and work out. Okay, that's great. You're probably really healthy.
Why?
What now? Yeah, but what now? Like how is that making you money or getting you in a relationship?
It's 5:30 in the morning. Everyone is still asleep.
Yeah, but how are you finding like relationships? Not even with the opposite sex, just with like fellowship with people. Yeah. How is that helping your family life? How is that making you money? How is that helping you save money?
How does it help you to be exhausted at 2:00 in the afternoon?
Exactly, like that whole hustle.
That's when other people are doing their hustling. Shouldn't you be hustling along with them?
Yeah, like
taking calls.
They're called business hours for a reason, sir.
I mean, it's ridiculous. It's just a way to sell stuff to people. It's just nonsense. It's nonsense. I'm not saying it's not healthy. I'm just saying that it won't get you any money.
Seriously.
Or get you laid.
You get up at 4 a.m, you run, you come home, you shower. Great. It's 5:15 in the morning. Everyone is still asleep. There are no women to talk to.
Yeah,
nothing's open.
It doesn't make you money. Like it doesn't make you money. Like I want a Ferrari. Okay, get up and work out. Like it doesn't. That doesn't. They don't go hand in hand. All right. You get up and do a radio show. You get yourself a Ford Fusion. I mean that ain't half bad.
Try telling this to Bert Breer when he shows up here tomorrow after his run.
I don't mind. You can run in the morning. That's great. I'm just talking about that can't be your message. Like that doesn't get you anything except that you're good at running.
It's not a fully baked plan.
No, like, and I think David Goggins has had a really interesting life, and I like the book that he wrote, the one about his life. I think that he's got a great mentality for himself, but a lot of what I see him doing is just running and telling you to keep running or like keep lifting weights. And while those are great feats and they've made him money as a motivational speaker, he also went in the Navy SEAL program 85 times. I mean, there's a lot more to it than just running. Like, that's great. And lifting weights is awesome. And you'll look better and girls will find you more attractive. But it doesn't solve all these socioeconomic problems. It's a step to health. All right, listen. Phil Perry, who knows his workout routine, but you can't. It's all genetic, baby. It don't even matter what he does. We'll be back in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub. on the Sports Hub.
I'm on smart card. So leave me alone. I'm on smart card. So leave me alone.
Who is this?
The Chats. I sent these guys
Is
to you
that
like
the
a year
Australian
ago.
band?
Yeah, the Australian trio.
Yep. All right. We are Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Phil Perry covers the Patriots for NBC Sports Boston. He joins us live in studio this morning. Hello, Phil.
Good morning, boys. How's everybody doing?
We're doing well, and I have been interested because it's very deep in the weeds for casual sports conversation. But there has been a conversation this week of the formation and the line of the offensive line, the usage of different players in unfamiliar positions on the offensive line. Is this of interest to you? And if so, why?
Well, that should be my realm, right?
Yeah.
I'm a beat guy. Like,
Right.
I am interested in that sort of thing. I'm wondering, and I'm a little concerned, quite frankly, that you would be interested in this, Fred.
I'm not. I'm asking why is this being talked about?
Okay, good.
Because did you see what it's a snarky way of saying? Did you see anything egregious in the way the offensive line was managed last Sunday?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. It was a little odd to me that they would go away from a combination that they had had for a couple of games, which had been so rare for them, right? They've been looking for any sort of consistency on the line, and they could have had 2 games in a row, 3 games total this year with DeMontre Jacobs and Mike Owenu on the right side, Ben Brown in the middle, and the left side with Vidarian Lowe and Michael Jordan. They went away from that to get Mike Owenu back to tackle and put the rookie Layden Robinson, who played well like really early in the year and then fell off, back at right guard. And to me, where consistency and continuity and chemistry and all of those C words matter so much at that position, why would you mess with it when you have the opportunity to keep things going in a certain direction? But mess with it they did. I think the reason was because they like the combination of Robinson and Owenu on one side of the line right next to each other because they're both physical, strong guys who like to run block. And one of many things the Patriots haven't been able to do over the course of the last month, they've been worst in the league essentially, is run the football. So I think that move was in regards to that. Boy, how can we get our run game going? Let's see if we can get the rookie back out there, start moving some people at the line of scrimmage, and open up our offense a little bit that way. It couldn't have gone worse. Layden Robinson was like the worst player on the field for the first 2 quarters of the game.
When you had to pass, that became problematic. Layden Robinson didn't belong out there.
And you still couldn't run. I mean, I think the theory is, right, well, if we can run it on first down, now instead of 2nd and 9 and 3rd and 8, well, now we've got 3rd and 3, and now we're a little more unpredictable, and now we can do just about anything, and it didn't go that way. So, listen, I give them a little bit of credit for changing midstream. Like, before they even got to they didn't even wait to halftime. They had brought DeMontre Jacobs back in and taken Layden Robinson out. But against a team that has really one star-level player in Jeffrey Simmons, to go with that plan and change things up and hope the rookie Layden Robinson can hold up against that guy, that was questionable at best.
Ponderous.
Are we at a point now, though, because Drake May has shown himself to be a good improviser, are we at a point now where they're kind of flipping the offense because it was 2/3 pass to run last week? Are we at a point where they're going to say, okay, Drake, here's the football, go get him?
This is a really tough one for me because it's the only way they move the ball, right? And so if you want to be productive and you want to allow this guy to develop in real time and give him extended drives, like give him a chance to move the football down the field, that's what you would be doing. You'd probably be spreading it out, asking him to drop back 45 times. He had 41 attempts, so 45 dropbacks probably total between the 4 sacks that he took as well. And just seeing what he can do and just asking him to carry the entire offense because that's what he's been doing. At the same time, that position is so exhausting to play. And he's not one of these guys who came through college like Jaden Daniels with 55 college starts. He had 26 college starts. He just turned 22. It's exhausting. The way he plays it physically, it's exhausting. But it's also mentally exhausting to be making the right decisions over and over and over again, or at least trying to. And you never get a mental break of just saying, okay, I can just hand it off to Ramondre Stevenson here, take a breather, let's get to 2nd and 6 or whatever it is, and go from there.
How much is on his plate before the snap? How much, to your understanding, is up to him? You mentioned that. It's interesting. He's mentally exhausted. You see a guy like Aaron Rodgers who just lets the clock run out while he brilliantly figures all the pieces. How much?
Well, sometimes guys are in motion, Fred.
Yeah, and then they stop, and then he takes another 10 seconds.
But sometimes there's a late substitution. He's got a lot of excuses.
The 11 players are on the field. But so here's the deal. How much leeway do you think he has, in other words? Like, how much thinking does he have to do in relation to other quarterbacks in the NFL?
Oh, not a lot in relation to other quarterbacks in the NFL, but some, and more than he's used to, I'm sure. When it comes to, okay, am I seeing, one high safety or two, and are we checking into a pass here because they've loaded the box and it's going to be even more impossible for us to run on this play than it is on all others. So there is some of that, and that requires some energy. But I think by and large, and talking to some Titans defensive coaches on the field before this game, they would tell you, and I think a lot of people in the league would tell you, it's a quarterback-friendly offense. It's a lot of what Kevin Stefanski's doing in Cleveland, and they're not playing great offense right now either, but a lot of it is designed to take some of the decision-making out of the quarterback's hands or make those decisions a little bit easier, pre-snap and post-snap. And I think it's probably the post-snap decisions that are more mentally taxing because you're trying to read, okay, the corner is the read here. If he sucks up on the running back who's in the flat, then I throw it deep. If he goes deep, then but you're trying to figure all those things out in 1.3 seconds or whatever it is, and those are probably the tougher decisions for him.
Okay, help me reconcile something here because we like the way the offense looks. We like seeing Drake May play. If we're talking about wins and losses, the 2 wins have come when Jacoby Brissett has been in at quarterback, and you're not moving the ball in a spectacular fashion. How much of that has to do with the opponent in both the Bengals and the Jets? And I think with the Jets, it's almost entirely on them. But how do you convince me that this is the right way to go, moving the ball downfield, throwing a lot, doing all these things when your success kind of comes when it's not only doing something a different way, but with a different guy entirely?
Well, I think this would be a good sign of the fact that there are a lot of things that go into winning and losing football games, right? Beyond quarterback play. And as much as that matters for quarterback, are you able to, at the end of the day, win the game? That to me matters. It's part of what made Tom Brady great, even, early in his career. Wasn't putting up amazing numbers, but he was the best choice for them because they were winning games, and it was in large part because of the decisions that he was making on a snap-to-snap basis. There's just so much other stuff that goes into it. It's part of the reason why I don't love the quarterback wins stat as like the be-all, end-all stat.
I give that game to Drake May. Like, I mean, the idea that he made the play on 4th down, the idea that 2 weeks in a row, that took it to overtime, but they had goal line situations that he converted, I think I know it's not technically the win-loss thing, but I think that he has proven himself to be up to the moment. I mean, no, that was Jacoby Brissett that was in the Jet game. My bad.
Right.
But what he did in the Tennessee game, I think it proves that he's up to the moment. You know what I'm saying?
There's no doubt. There's no question who the better quarterback is here, right? Or are you suggesting that maybe Jacoby Brissett is a better player?
Nope.
Okay.
I believe when I watch Drake May, you're looking at the quarterback for this team for the future. Just help me wrap my head around the fact that the 2 wins that they have this season have come when Jacoby Brissett is in the game, and they're doing all these things that we kind of scoff at, like, run the ball. It's so much easier to give it to Ramondre Stevenson and play this safe way and not throw the ball downfield. Except for that sticky little point of the 2 games that you've won, that's what you did.
It's a fair point, and I would also say, sort of like in the inverse, looking at the games you've lost, just look back at last week. The quarterback turned it over 3 times. So, like, if you want to make the argument that you would rather have Jacoby Brissett, I would never do that. I'm not sure there's many people out there who would say that. But if you want to make that argument, that's the argument. The rookie's great, and he can run around for 12 seconds back there, and he can throw it lying flat on his back 45 yards. What's that getting you? Because he also turned it over 3 times trying to do some superhero types of things. And Jacoby Brissett, meanwhile, is just sort of taking what's there, not turning the ball over at a historic rate, And all of the games you've won this year, all 2 of them, have come with him behind center. I still would say the only reason you're in that game to begin with this past week is because of Drake May. And so you're getting better quarterback play from him. You don't think that's true? What's the score of that Titans game if Drake May is not in there? He is the offense right now.
I thought you were talking about the win against the Jets.
No,
because he was in there for
No, and whereas Jacoby Brissett sort of is treading water in that Jets game, but makes a couple big plays at the end. Makes that throw to Kayshon Boutte that I thought was a great throw. He didn't want to take any credit for it, but he's taking a hard shot to his legs, is able to drive it 34 yards down the field and put them into scoring range.
Maybe I'm just trying to guard against the whole notion that just because a quarterback looks good and he's got the tools and he's doing cool things, don't worry so much about the win-loss record. And I agree with you on that point from a macro standpoint. But that's kind of what we were told about Deshaun Watson. Like, look how good he is. He doesn't win any games. Doesn't matter. Man, he's it.
Well, he wasn't even doing the cool things anymore and losing by the end. He wasn't cool at all and losing. That's a bad combination.
I'm talking about before he got to Cleveland. I mean,
they won some games in Houston. They got to the playoffs. That was not a great team.
But get to the playoffs with Deshaun?
He was a successful quarterback in Houston. That's why they made the trade and gave him all that money.
It was more about how he looked, though, than the actual overall success of the team.
Sure, he wasn't a championship level quarterback.
Correct.
I would say this. When you look at the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now, and Patrick Mahomes is almost a case unto himself, but why is he the best quarterback in the world? Why is Josh Allen among the best quarterbacks in the world? Why is Lamar Jackson among the best quarterbacks in the world? It's because they do that cool, like we're using cool as sort of a pejorative term right now, but you have to play make. That's the word I would use. You have to be able to create off script. You have to be able to run. You have to be able to throw on the run. You have to be able to do things that the coach couldn't design for you in real time because the defense is occasionally going to have the right answer. And so then what do? And it's the best quarterbacks in the league that can get themselves out of those situations and not only get themselves out and create sort of a neutral situation for their team, but excel in those situations. And so Mahomes is the best of the best because he limits the mistakes and he has all the quote-unquote cool stuff.
And he's got guys who can actually do their one little part in that play make, the scenario where just catch the ball when your quarterback manages to avoid 3 different sacks and he's rolling right and throwing left, but if he actually gets it to you, make sure you catch the ball. And Drake May doesn't have that. Right?
He doesn't have that. And when he gets that, maybe he elevates to a level where he's suddenly 3 years from now, he's in the conversation with some of those names I just mentioned. Because I think his ability, sheer physical ability, and I think, some of the mental stuff that we've already seen from him in terms of his toughness and his resiliency and the ability to bounce back from a bad interception and not be down about it and not let it ruin the rest of his night. I think those are all positive things, and if they can surround him with actual players, you might have somebody that's in the conversation among the best quarterbacks.
I don't even think you need a Jamar Chase type. I think you just need a 2 to make him much better. That's what I think. Pop Douglas is a 3 on a good team. If you just get a 2 like a T. Higgins, if you get somebody like that, he'll take a major step forward.
That would be a massive improvement, wouldn't it?
Yes. I mean, massive improvement.
It's part of the reason why this year is frustrating. Is because I think our ability to gauge how people are doing, how they're performing in their jobs, whether it's the quarterback himself, whether it's the offensive coordinator or the head coach, like there are certain situations we can 100% look at and say, bad job, Gerard Mayo, bad job, Alex Van Pelt, or good job, vice versa. But a lot of this stuff is in the gray for me because the personnel is so bad that the stuff they're drawing up for these guys, the receivers alone, like take them in a vacuum. There's zero detail, it feels like, on a week-to-week basis with these guys. Running into it, we broke down a play last night with Brian Hoyer on the Game Plan show where it was Drake May's first pick, and he's looking like he wants to throw to Hunter Henry. As he's going to make that throw, who's like 3 yards behind him, running almost the same route in the exact same space? It's Jalen Polk, who did the same thing in Jacksonville on a rollout play. He's like 6 inches from Hunter Henry, 20 yards down the field. That's not how they draw those plays up. That's a lack of detail from the receiving group, and I feel like that position in particular is really limiting how we can gauge how the rest of the pieces in the offense are doing at certain points in time. And I wonder with that position group, if you just need to start from scratch, like starting next year. I like Pop Douglas. He's a 3 or maybe a 4. Like at best. He's just, his size limits him. They need a lot of help in that room, and I don't know if you can get it all in one off season.
Are you interested in Deshaun Watson's record?
Career?
No. With the Texans.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's 3 seasons with the Texans. They won the division twice, but in fairness to Hardy, they were terrible in his last year there. Bill O'Brien, little magic. They won 9 in a row in 2018.
Yep.
I was Googling it.
Look at you.
Bill O'Brien used to be a great
history
head coach.
major.
Yeah.
I find the data. I find the stats, baby. Bill O'Brien was a good head coach. He developed.
Yes.
Deshaun Watson thrived under Bill O'Brien.
Until they traded DeAndre Hopkins, and that was the year that things went
then it all
really
went
south.
Bill O'Brien was trying to make a point. DeAndre Hopkins is not being a very good soldier, so Bill traded him for a running back that
David Johnson.
David Johnson, who had one good year in Arizona and disappeared.
That was an interesting choice.
Yes.
I think he got fired in the middle. Was that the season he got fired?
I think it was
same year.
That either that off season or the next year. He did not last long after that.
Well, yeah, in 2020 it was like a disaster. They
Yeah,
won,
Sells
like, 2
texted me
games.
too. When O'Brien was there, Watson was leader for MVP and tore his ACL. He diced us up. This is all part of my Deshaun Watson bias, which I had the moment he got that huge contract in Cleveland, and I said,
I can't. Why would you dislike him?
Because I was
Yeah, you're the one, Hardy.
Yeah, like,
I've been saying this guy wasn't worth it for a long, long period.
What's your problem with Deshaun
counterculture
It's
god?
more of a personal thing that the point Fred's making, but I didn't even have to get personal. My whole point with Deshaun Watson when he got signed to Cleveland was, why is everyone so convinced this guy can still play football? Because it had been a long time since he had played football, and turns out he can't play football.
They thought he was an upgrade for Baker Mayfield.
Yep.
Look where those two guys are now.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, he missed the entire 2021
I was the one person with the
season.
courage to ask, Phil. All I did
You
was
were.
ask.
You. Thank God you are in our lives. Just the integrity that you bring to us all by osmosis is really incredible.
Did you have anyone on Instagram tell you to go kill yourself yesterday, Hardy? Some of us are the real soldiers with our boots on the ground.
Let me check my DMs.
Phil, I'm sure you get that every day.
Oh, all the time. All the time.
Very
Everyone
graphic.
Everyone hates Phil Perry.
He wanted it done in a very graphic way, too.
Oh, really?
He was
explaining it.
He was explaining how he wanted me to kill
Goodness.
myself. It was a little jarring.
Huh.
It's at the dog park.
I thought it involved an ice bath.
No, I could
Cold
take that. You can't kill me with an ice bath.
Fred's going to sit there all day.
That would be
That's
like putting...
sit there until the ice melts.
Yeah, here's what he wrote. I took a picture of it because I knew he'd take it down.
Just for Jesus.
I took a picture of it because I knew he'd take it down. It was a little much.
It's a healthy place to be.
And he
social
has his
media
real
in general.
name on his profile,
Wow.
which I'm humbly not giving to the public. I'm
I'd give that
showing
out in a
some
second.
Hey, I'm showing a
Someone
little
tried to say someone wants me dead. All bets
It
are
was
off.
such
as far as
a
I'm concerned.
and it was during the day, which makes me think this guy's in a very, very bad place. Because if he's reaching out to sports morning show hosts, wanting them to kill themselves based on nonsense, that I'm feeling like that's not a 3:00 thing that a mentally healthy person.
Yeah.
can do.
Yeah.
So I'm giving the guy a break. I'm showing some sympathy, some apathy for someone.
This has become an integrity off between you and Hardy right now.
Wow.
Well, I think we're just both shining. We're partners.
Maybe that guy got up way too early and was trying to win the day, and he was hustling. And he goes on his 4 a.m. run,
And then he looks at his
works
bank
out,
account at 3 p.m, and there's no more money in it.
and he
goes,
decides to attack you as a way to lash out.
Yeah.
Like when you send me that, it's more of like, whoa, this person's in a super bad place. That's why I'm not giving the name, Jonathan. I've matured. I have matured.
You're an inspiration to us all.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll be back with more Phil Perry, 617-779-0985. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
All right, Massachusetts.
Toucher and Artie. Phil Perry is here. He is from NBC Sports Boston. We played the Dak Prescott audio.
He wants another opinion. He wants to find somebody who says, no, your tendon is not being pulled away from you.
Yeah, it just seems futile. But, here's Jerry Jones. He's arguing with local radio hosts. He's making crazy deals and overpaying for receivers on a team that's lost their starting quarterback and is not in position to make the playoffs. We were talking about this earlier. Do you get the sense that Jerry Jones has lost a step a little bit? Like has lost his fastball?
Is that a sarcastic question?
You're saying yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because
definitely.
I always feel like weird saying that stuff because I don't know the guy and I've never talked to the guy, and you're like, it's not something like physical, right? Like it's just the way he's behaving in the way this team is being run. That's the danger of having like a eccentric owner, like a crazy owner, is that you're rooting for someone's toy at that point. Like you're just rooting for something. You're rooting for the guy's thing. It's like rooting. It's like betting on a drag race car. Like you're just rooting on the thing to go. And he does whatever he wants, and you just sit there and pay for it. Yeah. Like you're funding his hobby.
But as a member of the media, Phil, how much do you wish you were writing for the Dallas Morning News and get to capitalize on all of this?
You know what? I think it would be a lot of fun in one respect. I've talked to some of those people that do cover that team, though, on a daily basis, and I think it's a little exhausting. Like when the owner is constantly talking right after games, we'll just like stop in the tunnel and just hold court with 50 reporters about what just happened on the field. So I think part of it gets a little old for them, but no, he's a constant, he's a quote machine, obviously. I'm wondering now from our perspective, is that a team that Bill Belichick should want to go to?
I just don't know why I mean, he should want to go there because I don't think he has many options, and he wants to win those games he has to win and then get out.
If Dak is healthy, he's got a better chance of doing that there than just about anywhere else.
Think of Bill dressed up as a little cowboy.
Ooh.
Yeah, if Jordan, if you're listening, if you could make Bill dress up, and that would at least that would go so viral.
Like Woody from Toy Story, that kind of thing?
Yeah, dress him up as Woody from Toy Story, and then everyone will think that he's the next cowboy coach.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be fun.
That's how that works. Yeah.
I was thinking about dressing him up in just like a cheerleader outfit, not even like just the one with the pants. Like he's the male cheerleader and he can hold her in the air.
He's the base.
Yeah, he's the base of the whole thing.
What-handed pressing.
Yeah. I don't know why they haven't done that yet. I mean, he's still a virile man, obviously, at 70. What is he, 73?
72, 73. Yeah.
I think the nice thing about Bill is that Jerry is relatively committed to his head coaches.
Oh,
so
yeah. I mean, look at what's his face that he just had before McCarthy.
Jason Garrett.
Jason Garrett. He held on to him forever.
Couldn't kill him.
Yeah, he was going on. So, I mean, let's get into it then. Do you think Bill Belichick is a viable candidate to coaches since you brought him up to coach next year?
I think he's viable. That to me doesn't necessarily mean he's going to get a job. I don't know if he's going to be offered a job because I think there are teams that look at it and say, and this is why I bring up Jerry's loyalty to his coaches as maybe being important. I don't know if there are a lot of owners out there that are looking at Bill Belichick and saying, there's my 5-year plan.
Sure.
Right? I mean, that's the idea. You're hoping when you pay these guys, whatever it is, between $8 and $12 million a year to be your head coach, that they're actually going to stick around and they're going to help you build a really sound program for multiple years. And if Bill is in it for just a couple and it's just to get that record and he's into his 70s, that to me doesn't fit the profile of what these people are looking for. And so I'm not certain that he's going to get any. He'll get nibbles. I don't know if he's going to get any actual bites.
Jerry's old, he wants to win now.
What I could see doing is bringing him in a Coughlin type role. When Jacksonville brought Coughlin back as kind of like an advisor, he sat up in a box during games, like he was kind of like overseeing things, like having a wise football mind, not wise mind generally, but a wise football mind up like in your ear, having access to that. I could see, but I wouldn't want a 73-year-old man to be that's been out of football for a year and can't build a team, being in control of my franchise. And I know he doesn't need to be the GM, but he's still the coach with a lot of weight. And Jerry Jones, I mean, it would be great, but if I'm Jerry Jones, why would I want him involved with my toy? Like, I don't want him around my toy. Like, he starts hogging it.
Jerry wants to win.
Showing you how to play with it better.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
You know,
Jerry wants to win bad, and his time on.
But
this
then why
planet
is he never
dwindling.
hired a big? Why is he never hired a big name coach then?
Because, well, again, Parcells was there.
Yeah,
That's
true.
That's a big name coach.
Fair enough, but that was a long time ago.
I agree, but circumstances have changed.
But they didn't
Jerry-
win anything with Parcells.
No, I know that it didn't work.
No, but I'm just saying. Do you think that would bother him? Like that he would look back and go, well, I didn't even win with him, and I put up with all that crap.
No, I think that in order to make the toy look as good as possible, because, and we were just talking about this earlier, how he's lost his fastball, how, Jerry used to have a presence, now he just looks like an old man. I think he knows his time is running relatively short. He's got a roster that should win if everyone's healthy. If Parsons is healthy, everyone's healthy. But I have a head coach that's keeping me from doing that. Let's get a proven winner in there. I may have to suck it up for a couple of years.
But he's kissing some owner's ass is like the owner of the Eagles. Like, he's walking around kissing his ass.
Sure.
He wants that Eagles job probably. He hasn't. Do you think him and Jerry Jones have that kind of relationship? Because they could be fraught.
Everything I've read tells me, and again, I only know
you
from
tell
national
me.
perspective, everything I've read tells me that the relationship between Belichick and Jones is good and respectful.
Okay, they're good. That's good information because he hasn't been visibly kissing his ass like he has been in Philadelphia.
He's been on the field in Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's such such class
with his walk-around guy Matt Patricia trailing him around.
Yeah, just chasing after the owner like the little yappy dog.
Yeah,
There's
Maybe
a good
get him dressed as that.
There's a good relationship there with both Jerry and Steven, who,
Okay,
his role is only going to grow. You would think. In that organization, the thing for Jerry is you would be having to give up some autonomy because that role that you're talking about, I agree, he'd be perfect. Bill Belichick would be perfect in that Tom Coughlin kind of role. You think he wants that? kind of
No,
role?
he wants
No.
to coach because he wants the record. That's what he wants, and he wants the record to shove it in people's faces. He's like the least evolved human being.
And
Like he's like me.
It's an itch you can't scratch.
He's just got these bones to pick. He's just got these bones to pick.
Scabs and
Yeah, just these bones.
sores.
But I don't like it when people who've had that kind of success just can't like enjoy it like at his age. That just seems to me. It seems to me like
you can
an
just stop
empty
it.
thing.
I don't like when people have had that kind of success. Full stop.
No. There are people that I would look to as examples of how to handle success. Gorman, for instance. I like the way his retirement's going. Go ahead.
Head coaches are different, though. And, Phil, you know this. Head coaches have itches they can't scratch. You think Bill Parcells definitely wanted – he stopped, went to the Jets, stopped. Do you think he really wanted to go to Dallas in the end and deal with Jerry Jones? No, it's an itch you can't scratch. How many times did we hear, I'm going to go to Saratoga and enjoy the offseason? But he always came back. He always came back. That's why he went to Miami in that advisory role that you guys are talking about. I don't think he wanted to go there. He just had to be involved.
Well, and that to me, let's see how desperate for a coaching job Bill Belichick is. Because maybe it's Dallas that shows some interest. Maybe it's Philly, which to me would be a better situation, the perfect situation really for Bill.
Why does everyone hate Sirianni? Why does everyone think he's such a bad coach? What's he doing that's so wrong?
He's not winning every game.
I mean, what? Seriously?
Philadelphia fans, we've talked about this.
I mean, they
Philadelphia
kill
fans.
him.
Yes.
They kill him after wins. They were killing him this week. They won the effing game. What do you want out of him? He's 6-2. Jesus Christ. This guy, I wouldn't want the job. Who needs that? Seriously, I'm 6-2. I'm sorry we lost the playoff game last year. I'm sorry. We lost the game. I came out there and lost.
Fred, is he not one of the most insufferable hardos in the NFL?
Yes.
So that's
It's a bad
issue.
match, but it's just Eagle fans are they're way crazier than Patriot fans. They're complaining about everything. They were complaining about everything. They beat the Jaguars. It wasn't look, they gave up a lead. They were up 19-0. They ended up winning 28-23. Like that's not great.
Not what you're looking for.
But they won, and still this. Oh, do they hate him?
Yeah.
He's got a tremendous roster, which he really
Yes.
has no part in putting together.
Right.
And so I think that's what people hold against him. It's like, look at this team. You've got Hall of Famers on the offensive line. You've got a quarterback that you struck gold with in the second round. It's like found money. You've got arguably the best running back. He looks like he's better than ever right now in Saquon Barkley. You've got 2 number 1 receivers on the like. How are you not winning all your games? Like that should be the expectation.
Sure.
And he's an offensive coach, and they have at times been offensively. Like last year was ugly. They were offensively stagnant.
And they say he
with all
doesn't
that
get along
talent.
with the quarterback.
Right.
There's a bunch of stuff going on there.
So there's some issues there.
You sound like the people don't like him, huh?
I think Philly fans are crazy. Yes, I think he's a lunatic.
Okay, you do. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe
I mean, you
the
can't be
criticism
getting into
is
it with fans in the front row at your home stadium.
Yeah,
and
I
going
know.
back and forth with people.
But
Or was
then-
that on the road? I don't know. I think it's happened. I saw him get into it with a fan at the Gillette Stadium joint practices and training camp this year.
You said that at home.
What did he do?
Someone shouted, Bill's going to take your job or something, and he's like,
"No, he's not either.
Whoa, what kind of job do you have? And he just kept going. It was something along those lines.
What if he's like, I'm a tradesman?
He just.
What are you going to say to that?
I'm actually an investment banker.
It's what's great. No, it's what's great about America. I've learned to trade, and now I own a home and have a family.
It was at home. It was a home game that he got into it with fans.
Yeah, I mean, he's a little bit tightly wound, which I'm not sure is always the best thing for that job.
We got 1 minute. I just want to ask you something real quick. It was an interesting conversation. I heard a bit on Beetle and Zoe yesterday. Who would you want to see in the Super Bowl? I think the overwhelming choice from the NFC, a lot of people would like to see the Lions there. I'm not just saying that because that's what I want. But from the AFC, who would you want to see make it there? Because we're talking about the Ravens. They're playing tonight. You got a couple of interesting choices. Kansas City, to me, would not be one of them. I feel like I've seen that movie enough.
Go for a three-peat?
It would really bug people around here.
Yeah.
It would, which I think gives it a little bit extra
In
intrigue
terms of a
for us.
TV show to watch that night, do you need to see Kansas City play the Super Bowl again?
And I don't think the Kelsey brothers need any more exposure.
You
either.
need Detroit to beat Mahomes in the Super Bowl. That would be captivating.
I mean, if Detroit doesn't make the Super Bowl, it's going to be.
Right?
I'm going to feel really bad
great,
for Hardy.
That'd be a great story.
They're
Detroit-
so far. Do you agree, Phil, that the Lions are far and away the best team in the NFL?
Yeah.
I had a fantasy
They
about
should
that
get there.
yesterday about Kansas City making it undefeated, trying to go 19.
And then the Lions would beat them. And there you have it.
You know what I'm going to do if the Lions make the Super Bowl? Because I don't care about them enough to pay to go to the Super Bowl. I'm going to go to Detroit, though, and I'm going to watch the game in Detroit. And if they win the Super Bowl, it's going to be surreal. So surreal.
Mm-hmm.
2 playoff wins in our lifetime. No, 3 now. But there was 1 in our lifetime going into last season. And they're not the team I'm a huge fan of. I'm going to the Thanksgiving game there. But it's going to be so weird. First of all, you're downtown Detroit and you're safe. Second, which is weird enough. And second of all, they win the Super Bowl. It's going to be there will be like a nice celebration that I feel comfortable having my kids at. Like this will be a real. It's not going to be like Devil's Night when they won the '84 World Series and people just started lighting whole neighborhoods on fire in celebration. I mean, it will be interesting.
To answer your question, though, I'd say Buffalo. For
Okay.
some of the same reasons. They haven't suffered quite as much maybe as Lions fans, but, I mean, they've done
Buffalo
some
would
suffering.
be interesting.
Buffalo
And,
and
and,
Detroit in the Super
and
Bowl,
from
that
the
would be
NFC, they brought up yesterday, like Minnesota. That might be interesting.
No. You want the Lions. in the
I like
NFC.
watching Minnesota play, but I would rather the
you
Lions.
want the
go.
Lions.
Everybody I'm trying to be fair.
They're an electric offense. I mean, Goff
don't
he
do that.
might set the record for completion percentage this season. He is on that track to that. I think Breeze has it. He's like 73% of his passes he's completed.
Is he the front runner for MVP right now?
Yes, I would think so. I think hands down that Goff is and what a story that is. Stafford got his story and that was great. Now let Goff get his reclamation.
There you go.
You understand? All right, Phil Perry. Everyone watch him on NBC Sports Boston. He's all around the world. He's going everywhere. And we'll be back in just a minute with the wonderful sponsored Stack segment.
Sports Hub headlines.
gentlemen, the stack is brought to you by D'Angelo. Grilled sandwiches, sink your teeth into steak royalty. D'Angelo's legendary number 9 grilled sandwich. Tender, juicy sirloin, onions, peppers, and mushrooms grilled to perfection. Get yours today. What's going on, Artie?
Blame John Wallen for what is about to happen. I think this comes from a place of well-meaning. Oftentimes we hear about the song of the summer. What's the song of the fall? You know, what's going to be the song that everyone walks around singing and humming? I believe John has found it. And just because it's a commercial jingle shouldn't stop you from enjoying this.
It's Pizza Shark. Whoa, it's Pizza Shark. Pizza Shark, yeah.
Best darn pizza that humans can make is what keeps this shark in this here lake. So come on down for a slice and a laugh at 403 Pleasant Lake Ave.
All right, where is this pizza place? Cake.
Pizza Shark. Pizza Shark.
Good God.
I want to have some laughs over there. That's what I want is laughs.
It's Cape Cod, Pizza Shark.
Pizza Shark.
Is
Cape
what
Cod.
I
You
love
have
that.
to envision cartoon sharks dancing back and forth while you're listening to this.
The Ringer has an article today that is so poorly written about the adult and the two kids that were on Jimmy Fallon that go boom. That have become
the
a
Costco guys.
Do you know that the little one's not related to the other two?
Oh
yeah.
So it's an
Rizzler,
investigative.
you mean?
It's
Fred,
an
the
investigative piece.
Yeah, the Rizzler is not. No, but there's like a million I just don't get the references. Like it's all like references I don't get. It's
Same.
like Lord of the Rings references. And
Aware
stuff.
but not getting it. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't understand. I never saw the Lord of the Rings, so I don't get it. He's assuming a lot, but yeah, that kid's not related to the other two. And Jimmy Fallon, his soul, the same guy that brought on the owner of the Knicks to play with his band. That was the only thing he was there to do. Jimmy Fallon had those guys on and sat there, and people were like, you could tell he didn't like it. And you're like, yep, but he still did it.
What song did they play?
At 403 Pleasant Lake Ave.
Whoa, it's Pizza Shark. Pizza Shark.
Cape Cod.
That's what,
You go there for
that's what a
laughs.
shark sounds like.
Yeah. Let's go there in the coming weeks. It's not expensive to stay there in the fall. I know. As last fall, I stayed there a couple times. And let's go to Pizza Shark.
Yeah.
And let's go in there and the one where Kramer goes to the bank and they don't say hello.
Yeah.
They just say hi, and he says it's not the same, and he gets like half the money.
Yeah.
Let's go in. Let's get a pie. 3 of us. Sit down. Wait for the laughs. If the laughs don't come, we'll go up. We'll go.
Demand our money back.
Yeah, like, hey, your commercial says I get laughs. Like, go slip on something or do something.
Stephen Root. Well, general feeling is you got a greeting. It started with an H. How's $20 sound?
Yeah, you got it. That's what we'll do. You got to chuckle over this whole thing.
Fred, we've seen stuff on the news this morning about people dealing with the anxiety and the post-election depression. that a lot of people
to deal with it. Huh,
One man has the answer.
Hey, everybody. I know some of you are upset that Kamala lost, but here's an idea to show support, ladies. Post a picture of your feet with the caption, "I'm still standing." That way she knows you still support her.
Hey. Oh, the back door to get feet pics.
I'm going to show you a picture of this gentleman and tell me if that looks like a guy who would have a foot fetish.
Well, that doesn't look like a guy at all. But if you told me, if you had to guess if that was a guy or a man or a woman, I would have guessed woman. But that is, yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like someone who wouldn't have a foot fetish.
If you'd like to see for yourself, Dissident Media on Twitter is the one who posted that video.
Yes, there's so many ways to trick people into showing their feet.
Yes. All right.
Take a picture of yourself stepping on a rat, like that rat Donald Trump. Crunch. More sound, the better.
Yeah, I'm an ass man. Whoa, it's Pizza Shark.
Who's playing the guitar and what kind of effect is that? That chicka-chinka. Adam, you're a musician. How do you get
Is there a wah-wah pedal being employed
I think
there?
they're just a little palm mute, a little chicka-chicka there.
Yeah, but how to get that tone? That's just not
Play it
plugging
again.
the guitar
I need
in.
to hear it a few more times to analyze. Go ahead.
I agree.
Yeah, you need a really cheap amplifier.
Yeah,
the cheapest one you can get.
I mean, that is
to get that plinka plinka.
Daddy's junky music.
that
It's
is
not
like,
around anymore.
television-esque. You know, just that raw,
that CBGB sound.
Yeah,
from the 70s.
baby.
There's a
Yeah.
Daddy's Junkie out in Natick? I thought there was on Route 9.
Is there one left? I believe they're all
I
gone.
don't remember that.
Yeah.
No, I remember the one in Central Square. I don't remember the one being out near me.
All right. Well, perhaps Daddy's Junkie's not so great with the fentanyl crisis. Maybe they decided to rename it. And, you know, PC world we're in. All right, everyone, enjoy your days. That'll do it for us. Bye.
Toucher and Hardy, 98.